fracture. Finally, The Athletic reports the NBA season will open on October 22nd with a doubleheader, the Knicks at the Celtics, and then the Timberwolves at the Lakers.
It's time. You know what time it is? Time for Tuscaloosa's longest running sports show.
The biggest goal of our team,
especially in the first half,
we at Bama, we're trying to be the best. Always is to win a national championship.
Something cool to look back on.
We don't want to waste a failure.
You're inside the game.
John Mechie on the ground.
Appreciate your interest in the game.
On your home for Alabama sports.
And Alabama wins.
Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota. And now, here's your award-winning host, Ryan Fowler.
And a big good afternoon to you. Welcome into the game. T-Town Tide at 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports. As you guys can tell, I did not believe a lot of the naysayers. I initially didn't. I never subscribed to the Alabama narrative. Hey, they're going to win 8 games, 9 games. They're not going to be able to compete. I was never part of that club. That anybody that's ever listened to the show knows that I was not I believed in this coaching staff from the get-go, because I was explained how this staff was going to work, the chemistry, and really got some insight from behind the closed doors to try to understand what Kalen DeBoer was trying to do. We're going to dive into that because we're going to react to scrimmage. And the reason why I'm saying this, because I'm looking out at a beautiful Gulf Coast. And the reason why I'm here is because what I saw in practice, what I've been able to hear from other people, what I've been able to hear, because, if you listen to naysayers, Alabama is going to be fighting for the Independence Bowl or the Gator Bowl or the Liberty Bowl or the Music City Bowl or, and I never was in that crew. So I went to practice and I wanted to see for my own eyes that this Alabama team has a chance to be a special football season. Now, when I say special, listen, I don't think it's one of those that can they win a national title? Absolutely. No, they can. I mean, I know that's going to sound really crazy. Yes, they can win a national title. They literally can win a national title. Will they? If they stay healthy, they've got a chance. We're going to try to adjust not just to the world of Kalen DeBoer, but also this new playoff system. What gets in? What allows you to have success? So I looked at my wife at the early part of last week, and I said, I've seen enough. I don't think we're going to get this month of December off like many people are out here talking. Alabama's not going to be in here. They're not going to be this. They're not going to. You go to practice, for those who had a chance to go on Saturday, if somehow, some way you got that special invitation in, if you had a chance to go on the fan day yesterday, you saw that that's a really good looking football team. So we're going to get phone calls in early. We're going to talk to Drew DeArmond. We're going to react. We're going to talk about some Kalen DeBoer audio because I think he gives you a lot of hints. So we'll take phone calls from people that want to jump in, and we'll take those early at 205-342-9904. We are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. Right now, the RAV4 happening for 3.99 APR for 36. If you're looking for the Camry, the 2025 Camry, that's averaging on the highway over 50 miles per gallon in some models. Check it out. 3.99 APR for 36. And the Tundra right now, 1.99 APR. Not only did they extend that from the month of July, they added $2,000 loyalty cash at Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. And do not forget about the 3rd annual Tuscaloosa Toyota Classic, September the 9th through the 15th at Old Colony Golf Complex. It's going to be a big event. The LPGA qualifier once again coming back. And, we talked about this, the year number 1 with that. If the city of Tuscaloosa could showcase, to be able to showcase the city of Tuscaloosa, and you guys have got behind that, and that's made that event very, very successful. Matter of fact, I've been told by some of the LPGA folks that Tuscaloosa, as far as a host city, was really incredible from what they were able to do from a standpoint of just the hospitality to the golf course, the way that they help take care of the ladies that are here, and whether it's a host family that puts them up, because these LPGA qualifiers, these ladies are trying to fight for a spot to get on the major tour of the LPGA. So this is an LPGA qualifier. Once again, Tuscaloosa Toyota Classic, and I know Alabama Credit Union, which reminds us that we are 19 days away. Brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, alabamacu.com. Checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle. It is alabamacu.com. Reminding us to remind you we are 19 days away. One Reggie Ragland away, one Jeremiah Castile. Oh, I remember Tim Castile also wore that number 19 in the backfield. Who else am I leaving out there? 19. It's been a good number for the University of Alabama. I mentioned Reggie Ragland, the All-American at the University of Alabama. So we're going to take your phone calls, but I want to start with a comment, and I want to see if you hear it the same way that I do, because one of our colleagues, obviously you guys know a lot about, Joe Gaither. Joe was a great part of our team here at Tide 100.9. He proposed a question of Kalen DeBoer, and he phrased it. Wyatt and I were there. We were in that room. So I headed down when I got done, with this weekend's responsibilities for football. Left Bryant Denny Stadium, headed down. I'm going to spend down. I'm going to do the show all week. I'm not going to miss any shows. But one of the things that he said that really grabbed me is that the question was phrased, what would you like to see your team accomplish in the next couple of weeks? What will be the primary focus of that? And here's how Kalen DeBoer responded to that question that I think is going to drive a big part of the topics that we're talking about here on the game.
Probably just staying healthy, and again, I feel good about where we're at. This will be our biggest scrimmage. This will be the most plays that we run next week. We'll have a scrimmage too, but it won't be quite as many. It'll be solid, but just being healthy. We need all the reps. We have some veterans. There's no doubt about it. But we certainly have a lot of young guys that need to continue to develop and that are important. If they're not in the twos or if they're not in the ones, they're definitely in the two rotation. So those reps are invaluable to those guys, not just for them, but also the trust that it takes as a whole unit. So I think that's the biggest thing, just because our youth is, just kind of there around different position groups. But we'll just, guys doing a great job with their bodies. Anytime they have a chance, extra time, they're in the training room, doing a good job, and just before practice, after practice, doing what they should, being a pro, and those championship habits, you can see them really taking them and placing importance on them.
There it is. There's the comment. I mean, to me. Now, Wyatt, you may read into that a little different way, and that's okay. But when I hear that comment, that sounds like a coach is pleased with where they're at, the way that they've responded. Is that what you guys heard? Because when I hear that comment, no, it's not the only concern, but it is the primary concern. And I think that's one thing that can keep Alabama from really accomplishing some big goals. And I promise you, even though many of these naysayers were wrong, that's what they're going to ride on, because if there's an injury, they're going to tell you, but nobody at this point. I mean, we can't predict who's going to get hurt, right? We can't look at it and say, well, listen, Alabama's going to lose 3 defensive linemen. They're going to lose this, because you have to look at this team on paper. This first 22 or even the first, 35, there's some quality, and there's some quality that can win a championship. That's something that is going to be strange when you think about it. Listen, I'm not saying Alabama's going to win a national title, but I think this team has a chance to be a special football team. When you look at the quarterbacks, there's no doubt Jalen Milroe has taken a big step in the right direction. There's no doubt. Now, I know that he did not have the best of days yesterday. I don't know why that was. So I know, and we'll talk about this. I'm sure people's going to call in and share their opinions, and I want them to share their opinion. Alabama can beat you a lot of different ways offensively. They can beat you with wide receivers stretching the field. They can beat you taking a running back and out of the backfield and catching a swing pass, which they did on Saturday. They can beat you with running the football right at you. They've got enough strength in that backfield. When you look at Kalen DeBoer, I think if you go back to Indiana, Fresno, as an offensive coordinator, as a head coach, this backfield is very, very talented. So I think they're going to rely on these guys. I think they're going to be able to, take a little pressure off that defensive side of the football, because I don't know about you, but the last time I checked, the best defense is the one on the sidelines waiting for your offense to get off the field. So I think they may play a little time of possession and allow this defense and not kind of cut down some of that opportunities there. So Bama's defense, to me, is still a work in progress. They have taken a lot of steps in the right direction. I think the defensive line, I know you heard by now, LT Overton. This guy had a really, really good camp and took it all into that scrimmage and had a lot of, positive momentum there. So LT Overton's that guy. But they're also still thin at at key spots, corner, Damani Jackson. Yeah, he checks a lot of boxes. You go to the other side of the corner and you're going, what if you happen to, you have a twisted ankle or something, a high ankle sprain that you've got to miss a couple of weeks? Who knows when that will fall, because you're going to have to navigate some of these bumps and bruises. As long as they're not to key spots, they could probably manage a couple of injuries on that front seven. They're okay there. But if they had an injury in the secondary, you could really, really be in a trouble in a hurry. If they had an injury on a certain part of the offensive line, I don't know if you could navigate that. There's some areas that they feel comfortable with. It's just based on what came on the board. But I think he used the word, stay healthy. Stay healthy. If this team stays healthy, they've got a chance to be as special of a football team under a head coach. I'm not saying the history of college football. Has there ever been a team that first-year head coach that competed for a national title? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if there is a coach that's ever went to a school first year and have a chance to win a national title. I'm sure there's probably a conference title out there, but and I know by now you've heard the buzz around Ryan Williams. Believe it. Now, can he be the guy? Can he be Devontae Smith day number one? No. He's not going to. He's not going to be that guy, but he can be that guy that can be a major part of this offense when you look at Ryan Williams. So believe the buzz. He's going to be a special player in Tuscaloosa, but I think the wide receivers top to bottom is going to be a solid group. And I know Kalen DeBoer was asked about that. We'll get that coming up in about 15 minutes. Let's take a break right here. We're going to come back. We'll take phone calls. We're going to wait for Drew DeArmond. We're going to push him back a few minutes. So Paul and Lincoln, get ready. We're coming to you coming up in a couple of minutes. And we're going to take phone calls, 205-342-9904. It is Rumsey Environmental. It's a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. As you can tell, I'm excited. I hope you are as well. 19 days away. We have one more scrimmage. Can you believe it? We have one more scrimmage. And now it's time to get it on. All the naysayers, you'll either be right or we're going to be serving you some crow. And, buddy, we are going to remind you of all of that crow because all you thought was Alabama was going to come crashing down. And, sometimes these people were talking like we couldn't even tie our own shoelaces in Tuscaloosa. We know who you are. We got the receipts. We'll continue with more of the game. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Both Red Cross and Life South report there is a current blood supply shortage, partly resulting from fewer people giving during the dog days of August. Click on their websites to find the locations of drives for the remainder of the month. Tuscaloosa County suffered its 22nd homicide of the year, while the city of Tuscaloosa recorded its 16th over the weekend. The fatals came from a shooting at Creekwood Village Apartments that took one man's life and wounded another. And Brush Week is underway for sororities at the University of Alabama.
Want to know what it's like to run with us? You just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/get-in-the-seat or visit a dealer near you.
Blue Spring Living Water is located in Bluntsville, Alabama, Blount County, about an hour north of Birmingham. Blue Spring Living Water is harvested and bottled from a centuries-old natural spring on a private family farm. Blue Spring is an all-natural water source that flows just under 1 million gallons a day. They have partnered with Waterway of Alabama, and they've been in the water delivery business for over 30 years. To have Blue Spring living water delivered right to your home, right to your front door every month. New customers get their 5 jugs for $50, and the empties are exchanged every month for new ones. I know we have it at the Fowler household. We drink more water because of BlueSpringLivingWater.com. You can sign up at 205-602-3426. Talk to someone directly. Blue Spring Living Water can also be found. Mark Smart.
Feeling these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly sunny this afternoon. The high today 92. For tonight's fair with the low at 70. Tomorrow sunny, the high 93. Wednesday partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers or storms by afternoon. The high 94. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Light up those phone lines.
We remind you that we are always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, but also R&R Cigars, which is a huge part of our lineup during the fall, and I know they'll be a big part of the pregame show. But R&R Cigars, Reagan and Randy Starner, 2703 6th Street, 2703 6th Street, R&R Cigars. Relax and recharge. Plenty of HD TVs. You'll find those, but home theater seating. But just relax and recharge. Relax and recharge. R&R Cigars. R&R Cigars. 2703 6th Street, Reagan and Randy Starner, right there, 2703 6th Street. We're gonna work more Kayla DeBoer audio clips in there, but we're also gonna get you a part of the show. We want you to jump in and, tell me where you're at for the season, right? Tell me what you think when you look at this team. And I know I'm kind of dancing around. I think this team is going to be a special football team. Now, I want to hear what you're thinking. Now, could they win a national title? I said yes. Could they win an SEC title? Yes, they can. Now, they're going to have to navigate some of these injuries, but I think this is the new college football. I don't think when you look at this Alabama football team, when you have a coach stand up to you and he says, I'm pleased with where this team is at. Now, I know Kayla DeBoer is probably a little bit more of a positive side than Coach Saban was. But I can promise you, after 17 years coming out of the first scrimmage, Nick Saban wouldn't have been pleased with anything. He wouldn't be pleased with anything. I mean, even if it was great, he would have never said it. So what's Kayla DeBoer trying to do? Is he trying to issue some confidence in his team? Is he trying to regain some of that may have been lost with some of the doubters? Let's talk about it. Let's go to Paul in Lincoln. Paul, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Ryan, greetings from East Alabama, my friend. I did go to the practice yesterday. I want to brag on one of your sponsors, Ryan, if you don't mind for just a second.
Yeah, please.
I was in Tuscaloosa yesterday. Stopped by Mark Smart and picked up some products. And as per usual, the service was impeccable. The products, the meat, the sauces are just as impeccable. I tell you, Ryan, it probably would not do me well to live in Tuscaloosa because I would be knocking the door down at Mark Smart to get all of my outdoor grilling products, the meat, like I said, the desserts, that peanut butter pie they have is just it's unbelievable. I just wanted to say, Mark Smart, you guys do it. You do it the right way, and if I ever live in Tuscaloosa, I'll be an everyday visitor. Put it that way.
Well, let me say this, Jacob. When I first heard about what they were bringing to Tuscaloosa, I knew a little bit about it. I went and I met Jacob. One of our other sponsors told Jacob, "Hey, you need to connect with the game. You need to connect with the game because the advertising that we spend with Ryan's show, it works." So we sat down and we came up with a marketing plan. And I said, you know what, this is going to be perfect because it's our demographic, right? It's people that want to go out and tailgate. But then when you go there, I will tell you something about Mark Smart. Now, I don't know if this happened to you, Paul, but that little, you got your little handheld because it's a butcher shop, right? You don't need a full shopping cart. They got those if you want to push those around. But you know what I've noticed, Paul, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know if this happened to you, but I'd go by and I'd get me a couple steaks, a couple pieces of chicken, maybe some seasoning. Then when I get up front, there just happens to be like a cake or a pie that someone must have put in my basket, and I didn't even look. I don't know. I guess it's a strategy that they want to sell more cakes and pies, and they just kind of slip those in your basket.
Their products are strategically placed in the store that when you walk by, Ryan, you have to look. You've got to look and see what it is. It's just a great place to shop. And like I said, their meats, anything associated with Mark Smart is first class, and really, really enjoy the ribeyes that I get, the chicken swirls. I mean, you name it, the filet mignons. It's top notch. It's the best I've ever had, and I certainly will be back.
And we appreciate those guys, and we'll be giving away some more gift cards throughout the college football season as well. And I know that Paul got his Mark Smart gift package. But like I said, love that place. And Paul, not only do I live in Tuscaloosa, I drive by Mark's Mark on the way home every day. I mean, literally. Right. So it's so tempting to go in and, okay, hey, what am I going to do this evening? Oh, I'm going to have some of their sausage, or I'm going to have some of their great steaks. But yeah, it's Mark's Mark. But all right, so let's go to Bryant-Denny Stadium. What'd you say?
Let's go to Bryant-Denny. Yes, I tell you what, Ryan, I have been over the 17 years Coach Saban was the head coach there. I have been to multiple fan days under Coach Saban, and not one was as spirited as the one yesterday. Those kids were excited. They were jacked up. They were pumped from the start of from the very first period to the last whistle blow of the last period. The coaches, especially Jamarcus Shepard, I don't see how he has a voice after practice, because he is contagious with his excitement, and I'm telling you, it spreads all over the roster, it looks like, because that was a very, very spirited practice yesterday. And I'll just tell you, man, I'm with you. I mean, right after Coach Saban retired, and, it was sort of chaos there for about 30 days. But Coach DeBoer has settled things down. He's righted the ship. And that's his physically imposing a football team that I've seen down there in Tuscaloosa. I mean, I got down there right on the fence line to watch some of the groups, the offensive line. I mean, those are some big young men. Now listen, they're big young men all over the country, but those three in the middle, Booker, Jaden Roberts, and then Parker Brailsford, the center, are they're the real deal. I thought Wilkin Fomby certainly looked the part at right tackle. The defensive line, Ryan, that is you said it, LT Overton, Jaheim Otis. I mean, it's almost like they've completely changed their body types, but it's not just them, it's the outside guys. Keelan Keeley. There's a Renaud kid, I think his last name, Renaud number 90, I think his number. Man alive, that guy's cat quick. It's Ryan, I know Democracy Dan is probably not gonna like this, Brian, but I'm with you, man. I'm in your corner. This is going to be a heck of a football team if we can keep everybody healthy. You're not going to keep everybody healthy, but man alive, this is on the hoof. This is as good a football team as I've seen in quite a while down there in T-Town.
Well, now you know why I chose to, because I looked at my wife. I'm telling you, I said 2 or 3 days in, I said, babe, I think we may need to go take a little bit of vacation, because that little lull that everybody was telling us where we're going to have in December, I just don't know if I see it. I just don't know if I see it, because this 8-5 now listen, we're going to loan them and we're going to be nice. Now I know we don't have to be, But when they wipe that egg off their face, or we're feeding them crow and, these 8-win seasons and, 8-4, 8-5, poor old Alabama, they just, they're drifting back and, not there. This team looks a lot. They look fun, man.
I've got to preface this. Listen, this was a 2-hour window that I got to watch the team. This will be the only time, the only 2 hours that I'll see the team with my own eyes until they play their first game on the 31st against Western Kentucky. But the quarterbacks were sharp, and I'm not going to say in order who was the sharpest. I'll leave that up to the imagination. But there were. Listen, you can win. I think you can win with at least 3 of those guys at quarterback. I really do. That's just me. I could be wrong, but that's just me with my eyeballs. The running back room: Justice Hayes, Jam Miller. You talking about 2 kids that are built like fire plugs? They look good. Deontay Lawson is. He's an All-American. I tell you what, Jefferson played a lot in the middle as well, alongside Deontay. Number 15, I think, is his number. That kid looks good. I know he's a JUCO. Maybe took him a year last season to kind of get acclimated to the SEC, but that kid looks like he's come a long ways since he got to Tuscaloosa. And Malachi Moore, Keon Sabb, glad we've got them 2 in the middle, because they're ball hawks, man. They're ball hawks, I'm telling you.
Well, I know they didn't show it yesterday because, they knew that, it was an open practice and anybody could come in the back door and get some things. But I do know that they're trying to get all 3 of those linebackers that you just mentioned on the field at the same time. So I think there's some formations that they could work, not just Deontay Lawson, not just Jahad Campbell, but also Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson has put pressure on them and especially with this portal period, you got to play your guys. If not, you're going to lose them.
Right.
So you got to incorporate them into if they're part of it. If not, you let somebody else incorporate them.
I'll tell you one more player. Listen, we know about Ryan Williams. We know about Jeremy Bernard. I tell you, Cole Adams, the kid from Oklahoma, really is a solid receiver. He runs very precision routes, and he's got great hands, and I was really impressed how he can get in and out of his routes. And I tell you, Lonergan and Ty Simpson both hit him in stride just as he came out of his route. And sometimes if the ball gets on you so quick, you kind of shocks you. I tell you what, man, like I said, it was just those 2 hours I watched, but he caught it like it was nothing, and turns and runs upfield. Listen, I'm sure there was other callers that were at the practice, and they certainly can share their thoughts of what they saw. But the limited time, the 2 hours that I saw Ryan, I think we got a chance to be very, very good.
You got me fired up, Paul. I mean, listen, I'm trying to control myself because I think, like I said, I think this team could be very special. Now, what's special? Special is, I think an SEC title would be special. I think making a deep run of the playoffs. But, it could be butter on the bread, man. I mean, this thing could – this might be a better question for Tommy and Romulus, but has there ever been a team that won a national title year number 1? I'm not saying that's the expectation, but, if this team happens to avoid the injury bug and things go as well as we think they possibly can, who knows what 2024 will bring.
Exactly. And the way that Coach DeBoer and his staff are recruiting, and I tell you, I really think that once some of these recruits that may be on the fence, or maybe, flirting with other schools that may already be committed to Alabama, once they see this team in action, I think all doubts should disappear that we've got the right guy in Tuscaloosa.
Do you know if don't say the young man's name, but do you know if Auburn is offering bail money with the NIL deal, or is that an option?
Well, there's nothing off the table in Lee County. You know that.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a bail bondsman that was doing NIL deals or something. I didn't know. I was just asking. No particular reason I was asking. I just kind of wanted to see if that was, possibly as an option across the state, because I know how they like to do it, and so. Oh, sure.
Well, Auburn is. Lee County and Montgomery County butt up to one another, Ryan. So there's plenty of bail bondsmen in Montgomery County, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Just double checking. So
speaking of the bugs, Ryan, you got another second?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Well, there is that's the most delusional, insane fan base on the face of God's earth. There's no doubt in my mind. They're absolutely delusional. And President Trump has said many a times at his rallies that Venezuela has emptied out their insane asylums and prisons. Can we just ship the delusional, insane bugs down there, and just backfill the prisons and the insane asylums with bugs? Can that happen? Maybe after November 5th?
That's something we need to look at. We need to look at it, Paul. But
I'll bring that up at my next campaign meeting.
Okay, but now hold on. I want to warn you, because I got to get to break, and Drew's ready, so we're going to go to him, and then we're going to go back to phone calls, and we'll get to those. But I must tell you here, okay? I must say this.
Sure.
I want you to be careful with those Auburn people, because they're struggling right now, Paul. They're not where they need to be. Okay. So I know you're rough on them. I get that. We need you on those front lines, but I also don't need Auburn people jumping off bridges, because, Peyton Thorne was kind of not the All-American Heisman candidate this weekend at the scrimmage. Didn't have a good weekend. So I just want you to.
Ryan, are you telling Paul and Lincoln? Are you telling Paul and Lincoln to back off the bugs? Are you telling me that?
A little
Ryan?
bit, yeah, a little bit, yeah. I mean, I'm just asking. You don't have to honor that request. I'm just saying, just be careful, because.
Okay. I'm walking around in this, and I see a lot of bug tags in my neighborhood right now. So, but I'm not going to be. I'm not backing down, Ryan Fowler.
Well,
I can't.
Okay. Well, never mind.
I can't.
Asking.
You're
okay. You're right. You're right.
You're asking the wrong caller, Ryan.
All right.
Why don't you ask AJ from Bangladesh? Why don't you ask him to back down?
Okay. Yep. It doesn't sound like I'm going to be able to get Paul and Lincoln on board, but I know our friends from Lee County had a rough couple of days, and this big scrimmage they had. They were really struggling, but listen, the way that Philip Marshall and the Bug Riders spun it, they just said the defense is off the charts, man. I mean, it is off the charts. Listen, there's not much difference between what they showed at scrimmage and the 1985 Chicago Bears. I mean, they're that good. So
they're that good. They're that good. They're the second coming of the 85 Bears, Ryan.
That's what it is. Hey, appreciate you, man. I hope you have a great rest of your day, man.
Roll Tide and roll MAGA.
Thank you, Paul. We'll go to Drew DeArmond coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Let me tell you about Nuke's Eatery, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. Call ahead orders available. Our good folks right there. Nuke's Eatery, if you're looking for the French dip sandwich, yes, sir. They check that box. If you're looking for the Nuke's Q sandwich, which is the number one sandwich across the franchise. You'll find it right there at Nuke's Eatery. How about a salad? How about a California-style pizza? A 12-layer cake? All those fresh ingredients. It is Joel Brumfield. It's Nuke's Eatery, 205 University Boulevard, 205-758-2455. We'll continue with more of the game. We'll take those coming up in a couple of minutes. Drew DeArmond breaks down scrimmage and a lot more next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join the Martin Houston Show for a Tuesday edition of the program. We'll add DC Capstone report to the conversation. We'll get his thoughts on Alabama's first scrimmage. We'll invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. That's the hotline. We'd love to have your thoughts, your comments, and your reactions. All those conversations and more on the Martin.
In 30 miles. And if they don't have what you need, they'll get it. Cypress Supply, 2036 62nd Avenue, Tuscaloosa. Cypress-supply.com.
El Grant is the great Mexican place in Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Go over to see my friends Carlos, 205-391-4555, 62 McFarland Boulevard, Monday through Thursday from 11 until 9:30, Friday and Saturday 11 until 10:30, Sunday also open 11 until 9. You'll find the great daily lunch specials. You'll find great entrees, including the great fish.
Code BETTER for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com. Code BETTER to save 15% today.
Northport Power Equipment, largest inventory Husqvarna dealer in the Southeast. You'll find the Husqvarna models for residential and the professional landscapers, Skag commercial mowers, residential mowers, backpack blowers, handheld blowers, battery-operated tools. The service department at Northport Power Equipment.
And these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
It's the longest running sports show in Tuscaloosa. You're listening to The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide 100.9.
It is the Wharf. If you're looking for a new pair of boots, you can find those. If you're looking for a new pair of jeans, you can find those. Carhartt clothing, the Rocky clothing, the Under Armour clothing, you can find those. But 60 different brands of boots. Justin, Tawny Lima, Red Wing, Georgia, Double H, Timberline, Laredo, and many more. Is the Wharf, the Workin' Western headquarters since 1976. Go over and see my friends. Tell them the game sent you. Right there on McFarland Boulevard. It used to be Winn-Dixie, but Winn-Dixie is now closed. Thank you, Joe. We appreciate that. Always doing a great job with the economic standards of our wonderful country. But Winn-Dixie has now shut down, and they're bringing in a new grocery store. But you know that location, right past El Gran. You get right past El Gran, right there on the right-hand side of the road. You'll see the Wharf. If you go to the Blue Plate traveling westbound, you've went too far, right? It's right there, conveniently located, all the name brands that you have come to trust. We appreciate those guys for being a long-standing sponsor of our program. All the work in Western wear for the entire family. Let's go right now to Drew DeArmond, 97.7, the Zone up at Huntsville. Drew, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Got some technical difficulties. Sorry about that, Ryan. We're working on getting Drew back real quick.
Okay, no worries. We'll get him back here in just a couple of seconds. So we'll have a chance to go back to the scrimmage and we'll discuss that. We'll get Drew and we'll discuss a couple of different things. But you know, Paul was talking about the excitement there when you look at Alabama Crimson Tide football. You know, when you do look at it, there you could make an argument why this Alabama team is going to be able to dominate. Alabama team, you know, the defensively, I think they're a step ahead of where we thought they would be. You know, if you said, hey, 10 practices in, you would be able to, you know, have some guys really step up. I still think they need one more dominant defensive lineman. I think they need one more guy that can just take over a game. When Alabama has been great, when Alabama has had that dominant defense, or not even dominant defense. If Alabama's been solid defensively, they've been able to take that defensive lineman and say, who is it? You know, you could go back through the names and you could pick multiple defensive linemen, right? And you could say, well, when Alabama has been great, they've always had that dominant guy. Now we see LT Overton in that new role. Hey, he could be that guy, but I want to see more than just one guy. There's some candidates out there. Let's talk about it with Drew DeArmond, 97.7 The Zone up at Huntsville. Drew D977. Hey, Drew, I hope all is well, my friend. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. Did you buy a new car?
I did not, but I'm going down that road.
Okay. Well, no doubt. And, Drew, I want to go into scrimmage here for a couple of minutes. You've talked to a lot of people. What's your number one takeaway from Alabama scrimmage that you've heard?
Well, I think the number one thing that I took away from it was, just that it was a positive was I think offensively, this team has a chance to be elite. I think it's got a chance to have the deepest receiving core we've seen at least since 2020, if not before that, because if you remember, 2020 was kind of robbed because Jalen Waddle didn't make it to the end. I still say if he'd have made it to the end, there wouldn't even be a comparison, even in my opinion, between 2019 LSU and 2020 Alabama. I think that 2020 Alabama team, they might have beaten Ohio State so bad they'd had to turn the scoreboard off, and they beat them bad. And you remember Devontae Smith, who SEC Network voted the best wide receiver of the last decade, all his damage was done in basically a half of football without Jalen Waddle. So I do think this offense has a chance to be the best since 2020. Even better than the ones under Bryce Young. And Bryce was a part of some really good offenses. But in 2021 by the end just was a shell of itself because of injury. But I just think this has got a chance to be a special offense, and I think Jalen Milroe is getting better all the time. But I think also, and it kind of goes back to 2019. This is going to be the deepest quarterback room since then. When we saw Mac Jones have to come in for Tua Tagovailoa, and Alabama didn't really skip a beat. I think Ty Simpson's development, and even to a degree Dylan Lonergan, I think they've got a very deep quarterback room. I think they're going to be 6, 7, 8 deep at wide receiver. I think the tight end spot's going to be sneaky good, and the offensive line is on tap to, I think, be much improved from a year ago. So I just think overall that the offense is really going to click, and you heard enough good about the defense to be encouraged as well. But the biggest thing I took out of the scrimmage was that I think this offense has a chance to be special.
All right, let's go back and kind of discuss this offense. Drew, I think one of the things that, because you look at Alabama, and Alabama, to me, when they're good at offense, they're balanced. I think this Alabama team can beat you a lot of different ways on the offensive side of the football. They don't have to say, well, we're going to be so one-dimensional that we're going to do this. I think that's what the diversity of this offensive game plan, they can beat you a lot of different ways.
No, they can. And the bell cow of the running game in 20 was Najee Harris, who unexpectedly came back for his senior season. And he had a really good backup in Brian Robinson, no doubt about it. B-Rob still, basically the starting running back for the Washington Commanders. So again, but I think this backfield, and it hasn't gotten as much buzz as it probably should have. I didn't hear nearly enough about them in Dallas that I think you should have. I think in the end, and I've said this, I don't think there may be a better combination at running back in the SEC, than, of course, Jam Miller and Justice Haynes. I think they're going to be outstanding. And the thing that excites me is it's going to kind of be a combination in this offense of what Nick Saban did, his first, from his first 6 or 7 years in Tuscaloosa from 2007 to 2013, and from what Nick Saban did the last part of his time in Tuscaloosa from 14 through 23. And that, I think it's going to be some spread principles, but they're going to go back to, using the running backs in the screen game like we saw them do early in Nick Saban's career, where Mark Ingram, who ironically spoke to the team this past week, you remember how good Mark was out of the backfield. just a very dangerous guy. And I think they're going to use those backs, much more. Lately it's been wheel routes and things of that nature, but I think Kalen DeBoer and staff are going to use them as more, some of that quick screen action you're going to see. Certainly the receivers will be involved, but I think the running backs will be too. And I think Justice is a really good receiver. I think Jam is too. Jam made plays a lot at receiver last year. And I think the balance is going to be there. I think this team is going to be very balanced running the football. Kalen DeBoer, people always talk about Penix and the three receivers that are in the NFL and even Jeremy Bernard, but don't forget Mississippi State transferred Dylan Johnson, had 1,200 yards last year. Now, he was hurt near the end of the season, and that was a big part of their inability to balance things offensively against, that really, really a good Michigan team. But Kalen DeBoer's a balanced guy. I think he and Steve Sarkisian have a lot of similarities in the way they attack offensively. And if you're an Alabama fan, that's got to be really exciting.
All right, let's go to the concerns. And we're going to walk you all the way to the top of the hour. So we got a little bit of time right here. We got about 7-8 minutes. But let's go to the concerns. Coming out of this scrimmage, what are your concerns that you've heard about?
Well, certainly the kicking game a little bit with place kicking. It was a little rough. I think Graham Nicholson had a little bit of a rough first scrimmage at Alabama, but let's need not panic. I mean, I remember I put a hex on Will Reichert for temporarily when he had the perfect season in 2020, Ryan, and I think I may have said it on your show. I certainly said it on mine and on some of our other shows on ESPN 97.7 The Zone that Will Reichert was automatic. And then we all know what happened on A-Day. I think he missed 3 field goals. Everybody went into panic mode, but he was fine. Hopefully, Graham Nicholson will be fine. If there's an adjustment coming from Miami of Ohio, certainly to the SEC. So he had a little bit of a rough first scrimmage from what we hear. But again, from what I understand in the cleanup yesterday, when the media was able to watch practice, he made all his field goals. So let's just relax, let him get comfortable. And then Talty also made a couple on Saturday. So you've got another scholarship guy there to push him. So not going to panic on that, but that was an area of concern. And the other area is an obvious one. It's the cornerback spot. You have Domani Jackson, who's played a lot of football at USC, but not at Alabama, which involves tackling, fundamentals, and actual football, not two-hand touch. And then you've got Deshaun Jones, who wasn't there until June, and he's been there on a short period of time relatively. And from what I understand, they both got the majority of the reps for the first unit. Then we saw a guy, Jalen Mbakwe, and he's come a long way since spring from what I hear. But again, there's a lot of inexperience at that cornerback spot. But I will say this, in the Kavit, they're not covering an ordinary wide receiver core. I think this wide receiver core is deep. I think it's been underrated. And I think it's got a magical player in Ryan Williams, who, as we know, has, if you paid attention, kept your ear to the ground. Since he arrived in June, he has been the real McCoy and certainly made plays on Saturday.
How do you, when you look at Ryan Williams, what are fair expectations? I mean, we're talking about a young man that should be getting ready for high school football. You cover high school football as well as anybody in the state. How do you place expectations on Ryan Williams, in your opinion?
Well, again, I just think there are certain players who set the tone for a coach's tenure, okay? I felt like from all I heard and saw out of Julio Jones that he had the kind of talent. Because remember, when Nick Saban came to Alabama, the Tide, while Tyrone Prothro was well on his way to being a Heisman candidate, we all know, unfortunately, how his career ended, and that was out of his control. But Alabama was not known as wide receiver U and had not been churning out first-round draft picks at the position for a long time until Julio Jones showed up, okay? And from the jump, and that I'm talking about fall camp, scrimmages, everything, he made plays. I know you've been at it and you covered Nick Saban's entire tenure. You probably still have it saved somewhere. Everybody remembers the touchdown that leaked out from a scrimmage where Julio Jones was kind of embarrassing what turned out to be one of the best defenses in college football, Ryan, in 2008, and he was making those kind of plays. I think this Alabama defense is going to be really good under Kane Womack, and Ryan Williams has been making plays all summer long from what you hear. And he made a big one on Saturday, an explosive touchdown. and you're talking about expectations, and you try to temper them because he's a young man that's young. Julio did not reclassify, but this guy did. But I think he's magical. I think you saw it when he reclassified. He was MVP of the Alabama-Mississippi All-Star game. He scored a touchdown in the Under Armour game. There are just some guys that have it. David Palmer had it in the first moment he stepped on the field at Alabama in 1991. I started hearing the same kind of stuff. This is the third time I can remember hearing this about an offensive player. So what are my expectations? I'll only give you my prediction for game one of his career at the University of Alabama. A, I think he'll be in the starting lineup. B, I've got him with 7 catches, 100-plus yards, and a touchdown against Western Kentucky. I think he's going to be heavily involved in the game plan, and they're going to get him the rock. And I think he's going to have a huge impact on this football team. And I know, Devontae Smith made huge plays as a freshman, but he wasn't heavily involved at times. But that receiver unit that he came into had a lot of great young players in it too. And he had to come into his own a little bit, but he showed flashes of it. I think Brian Williams can be even better than that, only because I think he's a little bit further along than Devontae was physically. But I just think the expectation should be that he's going to be a starter from the jump and make plays in the SEC.
Drew, I can't wait to be inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. You and I will be sitting there in that press box, and we'll be looking at this Alabama football team, and we'll see exactly what this team is made of. Coming up in about 19 days, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. Drew's got you covered. Drew D 977 ESPN. Drew D 977 ESPN. You'll find that they're talking ball on the only sports station in the Rocket City, 97.7 The Zone. Hey, Drew, I appreciate you, man. Happy car shopping, my friend, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. I always appreciate you being part of the show here in T-Town.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Drew DeArmond helping us out there. We're going to get to phone calls. We'll come back. We'll take those. I got some audio that I want to dive into because Drew was talking about the receivers. Did you hear what Kalen DeBoer said about the receivers? You will next. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Beyer.
There's drama in New York with the Jets as pass rusher Hassan Reddick has requested a trade from the team. Reddick was actually traded to the Jets by the Eagles this offseason. He has yet to report to training camp. The Jets released a statement of their own saying that they will not trade Reddick and they will continue to fine him until he does report to the team. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will play in the team's preseason finale against Seattle as he returns from shoulder surgery. He'll miss their second preseason game but is expected to take part in joint practices this week, while Giants first-round pick wide receiver Malik Nabers is day-to-day with a sprained ankle. In college football, the Georgia Bulldogs are atop the AP preseason top 25 poll. Georgia received 46 out of a possible 62 first-place votes. Ohio State is second.
And also offer custom screen printing. Let Eyecatchers print shirts for your next event. 345-7762. Eyecatchers Screen Printing and Gifts, where getting seen becomes an art.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly sunny this afternoon. The high today 92. For tonight's fair with the low at 70. Tomorrow sunny, the high 93. Wednesday partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers or storms by afternoon. The high 94. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3320 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Any way you want it, the way you need it, any way you want it. She loves to laugh, she loves to sing, she does everything. She loves to move, she loves to groove, she loves to love and things. All night, every night. So how
powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. The 2024 Corolla, 3.99 APR for 36. It is the Big One sales event happening right now. And if you're looking for a Tundra, 1.99 APR, and you get a $2,000 loyalty cash on the Tundra, which is unheard of when you talk about the interest rates that they're able to save you, but also $2,000 loyalty cash, 3.99 APR on the Camry. Also, take a look at the pre-owned inventory. If you're in the market there, you can look at those pre-owned inventory right there at TuscaloosaToyota.com. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we go to Bubba in Northport. Bubba, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game. I hope all is well. Hey, Bubba. Okay, can't hear Bubba, but we'll get back to phone calls here in a couple of seconds. How about JR and Coker? JR? Good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Roll Tide, Ryan.
Yeah, roll Tide to you.
That's the RTR. Roll Tide, Ryan. Anyway, how you been?
Yes. Oh, man, I'm great. Doing super.
I heard you talking about receivers just a minute ago, and Ryan Williams being one you were being more focused on. I got a question with you about him and his size. How does he compare to some of the real good receivers that we've had in the last few years? I mean, is he considerably smaller? He looks small on the videos I've been watching. Well, of course, it could be just because he's around big players.
Well, I think he's got the it factor. I think there's, go back to Devontae Smith. What did Devontae Smith play out in Tuscaloosa?
I don't remember, but he was small.
165, 170 pounds.
That's about what Williams is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about right.
Devontae Smith, currently in the National Football League, he's at 6 foot, 170 pounds. I bet you he played at 165 in Tuscaloosa. That's just my guess.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think if you and according to if you look at RollTide.com, they list Ryan Williams at 6'1", 165.
Well, 6'1" gives him some height. He can probably put on a little weight, carry a little more weight.
The real good thing about him is he's very fluid. He can get in and out of breaks. If you watch him, have you ever watched those players that almost everything looks like effortless? Everything looks like they're going through practice, but it's like they're moving, but it doesn't look like they're putting in effort. That's the way he runs. When you watch him break in and out, I think he's a smooth runner. I think he's that route runner. The way that I would describe him is I think he's got the route running ability of Devontae Smith, but I think he's got the wiggle and the shake of Jalen Waddle.
Was he as fast as Waddle was? Waddle was the fastest player on the team.
I don't know his speed, but he's got plenty. Let's just say it that way. He's got plenty.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see it. I was just a little concerned. Looking at it, of course, he was probably some huge Alabama player standing nearby, and he just looked really kind of small. Makes you worried. Oh my God! I hope he doesn't get hit hard. But
the thing about the wide receiver room, and I thought Drew said it a couple of minutes ago that's very fair. It's more than just one guy. You cannot.
Well, that was my next question. Go ahead.
Isolate yourself defensively and scheme around just stopping one guy. They've got Jeremy Bernard, which is going to be a really dynamic playmaker. They've got Kendrick Law. You could go to Cole Adams. Cole Adams has got tons and tons of speed. They've got wide receivers. They got tight ends. C.J. Dupree had a really solid day on Saturday. So you got tight ends, multiple tight ends. You got backs out of the backfield. They can beat you with Jalen Milroe running the football. There's a lot of things, and they did a lot of quarterback draws on Saturday. So they can do a lot of stuff. This offense can beat you a lot of different ways.
Well, that kind of fits right into my next, not necessarily question, but thought process. Something I was considering, about how with the playoff going on, and you get through if you make it into that, you're going to be playing what? If you make it all the way to the end, 16 games, is that right? Something like that.
You could actually, so you've got
games.
All right, so just count them with me. You ready? So we go college football. Let's go regular season. So you've got 12 regular seasons, right? So you have the SEC title game, and it's a quick turnaround. Now, if you say, well, okay, so there's 13. Let's just count. Let's just do the math. Okay. Then when you look, okay, when you got the first round playoff games. Okay. So now you're at 14. 15 is the quarterfinals. 16 is the playoff semifinals. 17 would be the national championship game. If I've got my math right? 12 regular season.
Sounds right to me.
13 for the SEC title game if you make it that far. And if you win the SEC title game, you won't have to play in that. You get a bye. Okay. But if you lose that SEC title game, then you go 14 first round, 15 quarterfinal, 16 semifinal, 17 would be the national championship game. And
we just had to play 16 because that would mean we won the SEC championship.
Right. So, okay, 16, 17, whatever route. So, but JR, here's the crazy part is we're going to expand college football playoffs here in a couple of years.
Oof. That's what kind of what I was saying fit into what we were already talking about. Depth. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take depth and good players, quality players running in our second and thirds. That's where my question is now. What did you see as far as depth? And it may be a little early to make that determination. But
okay, at key spots they're okay. Okay, there's a drop off when you listen. Spot. Well, okay, look. I mean, let's walk through wide receivers. They've got some depth. Okay, they've got some some backup.
Yeah, you just were talking about that.
When you look at depth, okay. When you look at running back, I think they feel pretty good where they're at in running back. Quarterback,
they got 3 deep in the good players. 3 deep. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
Yeah, okay. Quarterback, they've got probably one of the deepest rooms in college football. Now, you don't ever want your starter to be down. There's a reason why he's the starter. But then when you look, when you look ahead, defensive line, they're strong there. But let's go back to the offensive line. Let's say if they happen to have an injury at center, they're probably in trouble. If they happen to have an injury at left tackle, they might be able to navigate that, but they would probably be in trouble. You go to the defensive side of the football, they got a lot of defensive linemen. It depends on who the injury would be to. Outside linebacker, they're okay. Inside line, that entire front seven is pretty solid, right? But then when you go to defensive back, Jackson, if you had an injury at corner, you're in trouble. If you got an injury that's why Kalen DeBoer said what he did. What's the most important thing? What's your biggest concern? Staying healthy. Because they know I think they know they got a really good football team. But if they can navigate some of these injuries, they'll be okay. If they're not, then maybe. But I think that's where we're at in college football. I don't think it's just an Alabama coaching transition issue.
Right. No, it's not just that. It's the depth, like you said, now having to play through the playoffs like we do. You got to have because you're not going to go through it completely flawless. You're going to end up with an injury, even if it's just for a game or a little bummed up or something. But you still have to have some good players to come in and play in their place, even if it's just for a few plays. That's important sometimes in these close games. And so I really feel like that depth that we have in those key positions, as you already had mentioned, it's really going to be vitally important for Alabama to make it through this and give us that opportunity and possibility to not only play for the national championship, to maybe win it. Because, every team has got to go through the same issues that Alabama does, with the depth. And so it's not like, it's just us alone. And I do believe we got some depth with key players. So we've had fantastic recruiting over the years, and those players are they're in there right now. Some of those that we've been having great, number one recruits over the years, these last 2, 3, 4 years. Those players are up there playing right now. And not to even mention we got next year some fantastic, people coming in 25. And it's just exciting right now. That's part of college football. Every team has to go through it. There's a change up of players every year, and it's just something the coaches have to work with. And I really, really have a lot of confidence and faith in DeBoer because of the way he walked into Washington, and prior to him getting there, the 2 seasons prior to him getting there, they had 7 wins in 2 seasons. And he turned it around immediately. And that's with limited players like he had there. He's got a rack full of good players on nearly every position. So I'm really looking forward to what he's able to do with the great players that we have. It does make you feel like, we got a good chance at a national championship. Nothing more than at least in the playoffs, right?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Listen, if I would have told you back in January that Alabama would have a chance to go win a national title, you would have put me in the cuckoo house, man.
I mean, you would have maybe some of people.
No, come
some
on.
People. I would have had.
If I would have told
before
you
they mentioned DeBoer, before they mentioned,
if I would have told you on January the 10th that Alabama would be in a hunt for a national title, and I'm not saying they are or not, but you
with Saban had been there, it would have been a lot easier to say, yeah. But
I disagree. I disagree. JR, I think it's with this coaching staff that is better on the field from top to bottom. I'm not saying Nick Saban.
Well, you're saying that. Yeah, I understand.
Coaches, assistant coaches. Hey, man, I appreciate you so much, JR. Hope you have a great rest of your day, man. I got to run.
All right. Appreciate it. All right. Thanks. Ryan, roll tide.
Right back to you. Hey, let me tell you about Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. And, I'm always in the punishment side of things, okay? I don't know if you guys have picked up on this, but I get done wrong at Southern Ale House, okay? No, I'm not talking about with the wait staff. I'm not talking about from the great food, the great service. I'm talking about the chef, Brett Garner. Let me tell you what he does to me. When he sees that I'm going out of town for a couple of days, he takes the menu to the next level. It's always great at Southern Ale House. Let me tell you what they've done to me, okay? Like, let me run through the menu here. Monday, Philly cheesesteak. Oh, that thing's incredible. Fried grouper, absolutely. Smoked pork chop, yes, sir. The evening specials, they'll bring back a fried grouper with a dinner-sized portion, smoked pork chop, the coffee rub prime rib. Tomorrow's burger day. Well, you guys already know what's going to be there. Pepper jelly burger. Yep, they put it on the menu just for Fowler here, just to be able to rub it in. He's down at the beach. I'm going to roll out the menu. Wednesday, blackened mahi tacos. Those are great. Chicken Parmesan pasta, solid. Grilled chicken club or fried chicken club on Wednesday. I mean, this menu is impressive, and we'll be talking about it as we continue. They've got the buffalo lemon pepper chicken tacos back on Thursday, brisket po' boy, the blackened shrimp over Cajun Alfredo. You can find that, the dinner, lunch, and dinner specials, and then Brett Garner also doing it on the caramel apple bread pudding. The caramel apple bread pudding, Southern Ale House. Eat Southern, be Southern. Yeah, I'm calling him out. He's great food. But they always take it to the level. I'm telling you, I think they've got like those, Life 360, where they can track you on the phone, where they, Fowler's going to the beach. He's going on vacation, going to take a couple of days off. This menu, you guys are going to have to eat there this week and tell me how great it is. But you can find the bread pudding. You can find all the Southern cuisine. Eat Southern, be Southern. Great place to hang out, watch a little, maybe college football for those game day weekends. Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. Go see those guys. Tell them the game sent you, and tell them, say, listen, I'm here to eat Fowler's portions. Pepper jelly burger tomorrow. Great dinner specials. Hey, go see those guys. 1530 McFarland Boulevard. And don't forget about we've got the new location, which is going to be awesome. Brand new building they have built. They're going to stay at the original location. That's Southern Ale House always, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. But you're also going to be able to find it, Southern Ale House number 2, Dock Style, coming up, Dockside, up on the 43. So we'll be announcing that here in the next couple of weeks. I think they're a little bit over 2 weeks away from opening. Actually, maybe a little bit under 2 weeks. I'll get an official date on that. But Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. So you folks up on the lake going to be able to enjoy that. We'll come back. We'll squeeze in a couple of phone calls. And we got Martin Houston coming up at 4 o'clock. He's got some inside information that he'll share. Also, we'll talk with Barrett Sallee coming up in about 10 minutes. T-Town, Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTB.
No matter how high the mercury rises, call Aux Home Services today at 205-979-0946 or visit auxhomeservices.com.
MedCenterUrgentCare.com. We expect the unexpected. Locations in Tuscaloosa, Northport, North River, right there off Rice Mine Road, Fayette, Demopolis, Hoover. The great doctors, urgent care, family medicine, injuries, occupational health, sports physicals. We do expect the unexpected. MedCenter
Trade, guns, knives, ammo, sporting goods, and more. Gun show and night show hours are August 17th, 9 until 5, and August 18th, 10 until 4 at the Cottondale VFW.
Blue Spring Living Water is located in Bluntsville, Alabama, Blount County, about an hour north of Birmingham. Blue Spring Living Water is harvested and bottled from a centuries-old natural spring on a private family farm. Blue Spring is an all-natural water source that flows just under 1 million gallons a day. They have partnered with Waterway of Alabama, and they've been in the water delivery business for over 30 years. To have Blue Spring Living Water delivered right to your home, right to your front door every month. New customers get their 5 jugs for $50, and the empties are exchanged every month for new ones. I know we have it at the Fowler household. We drink more water because of BlueSpringLivingWater.com. You can sign up at 205-602-3426. Talk to someone directly. Blue Spring Living Water can also be found. Mark's
$100. Visit us at 3537 Skyland Boulevard East or check us out online, BMWofTuscaloosa.com. BMW of Tuscaloosa. Take your dreams for a drive.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly sunny this afternoon. The high today 92. For tonight fair with the low at 70. Tomorrow sunny, the high 93. Wednesday partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers or storms by afternoon. The high 94. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Want to jump into any of the shows? Call Tide 100.9 right now at 205-342-9904.
Will somebody answer that damn phone?
That's 205-342-9904.
Right back into the game here in Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide sports, as we get you ready for another year of Alabama football. Remember to download the Tide 100.9 app. It is a free download, Android, iPhone, Google Play. Not only do we carry a lot of our content that is centers around Alabama Crimson Tide football and basketball and all these different sports, but also we are the streaming rights to Alabama Crimson Tide football. You can stream it right there on our app. You can download the app. It's a free download. We don't charge you anything for it. Tide109.com. And, we are one of the companies that we have as far as, over 300 stations across the country. That Tide 100.9 app is one of the largest. And there's a lot of other markets that are a lot bigger than we are. So we say thank you. Thank you. Continue to download the Tide 100.9 app. And by the way, there's a lot of good written content there. It's also a link back to all of our shows. Let's continue with more phone calls coming up here. Let's go to Marty in Arkansas. Marty, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well, Ryan. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. Good.
Ryan, let me ask you a question, all right? If we make it through South Carolina, Tennessee, and Missouri, and we're still undefeated, I think we'll run the table.
Okay. In what way? I mean, what's kind of pushed you over the edge? I don't.
You mean made my Kool-Aid this morning?
Is that what it was? You drank a big old jar of Kool-Aid?
No, I didn't drink. Just some of my Dr. Peppers. That's all. Brian, I just think as long as everyone says, as long as we don't have no major injuries or injuries in the secondary, I think this team can do it. The hard stretch to me is going to be that South Carolina going to Tennessee and beating them up there on a high, and then coming back and playing an undefeated Missouri team. If we get all the way through there undefeated, I think it's sailing on undefeated for the rest of the way. To me, that's our hardest stretch, those 3 games.
Well, I want to eliminate the undefeated seasons. I just don't think you're going to see
all right, Ryan. All right, that's fine, Ryan. When we do it, I'll just come down there and sit next to you and have a big smile on my face.
And I will happily eat it, man.
I won't give you no crow. You buy me a steak. We'll do that. You buy me a steak, and I'll buy you the beanie weenie down there at Publix, and we'll go over your ale house and eat it in front of our chef.
Okay.
Because I just think, Ron, I hope you're not spending all your money because you know your travel budget for 4 away travel games is going through the roof. Only thing that's going to save you is you get to take a bus over to Atlanta for the national championship game.
Oh, I'm not spending any money. I'm actually doing. Have you ever heard what they call squatting? You know what squatting is? You know what squatting is?
No.
Well, you just go into someone's condo. If they're not using it, you just set it up. You just go in and use it. That's what I'm doing. I'm not spending any money. I'm saving it for this championship run. But I'm just, that's a new thing.
No, I don't know what. No, I don't know what that is. I need to learn how to do that from you.
Oh, Ron,
let me ask you this.
If they're not using it, you just go in and use it. You don't need to get permission. I mean, that's.
Let me ask you. Who was the punt returning guys? Did they have any?
That's still be
up in there.
All right,
another thing too. It don't matter how much you weigh, just as long as you're fast and they can't catch you. And that's what this guy does. He gets in out of, like you said, he gets in and out of his cuts, and he's off to the races. Dante Smith, that's why they couldn't cover. He run down the field like water. Robert took off so fast, wide open by 5 yards, they couldn't catch him on a fly route. And they're not going to be able to catch him. He may not be starting by game 1 or game 2, but by game 3, he'll be in there because he'll be the fastest man on a fly route and hit that bomb with 3 men behind his back.
Gotcha. All right.
I don't care how much you weigh. It's just getting in space and getting out of it, and they can't touch you. Like a running back, get through that hole real quick and block that linebacker, and you're off to the races.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Marty, I appreciate you. Anything else?
All right, Ryan. No, nothing else. When you coming back? Next week?
Well, it depends. It depends on if I get more good news, because I'm gonna try to stay down here and get the batteries recharged.
Well, stay there a week. You got to come. Stay down there 2 weeks, Ryan. Get good news.
Okay.
There might be another one down.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Stay down there 2 weeks.
I will ask my wife if she doesn't mind if we stay 2 weeks. Okay.
Okay.
That's
well, she can do all her work. She can do all her. Hey, Ryan, let me tell you this. Go Google it. There's been 2 or 3 coaches because the Miami coach, Eckerson and Coker did it their first year. And then the first one to ever do it was the Michigan coach, I think, in the 40s. There's been 3 coaches that their first year they won a national championship. Coker and Erickson had Jimmy Johnson's good good graces. And that's what we have this year. We got the good graces of Nick Saban leaving the talent so good. And here we come in with, and I know DeBoer is better than Coker or Erickson as a coach. And if they can win it, he sure can win it. That's my final thought, Ryan.
Look into this squatting thing. I think it's a good way to take a vacation. It's probably the most inexpensive way that you can do it. Look into it and see what you can find out. And it's a new thing that a lot of the folks on the other side of the ticket.
Ryan, we'll talk about that maybe. I'll give you a call maybe and we'll talk about that and you can tell me a little bit more.
Yeah. And
all right, like I said, we want to talk. We don't want to talk about going on, but we want to talk Alabama football and winning every game. That's what we want to talk about.
Okay.
All right, Ryan. I'll yell at you later.
Thanks, man. Bye. Sounds good. We'll talk to Barrett Sallee coming up in a couple of minutes. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Nuke's Eatery, they're on the fringe of the campus of the University of Alabama, close enough that you can smell the championships. The Nuke's Q sandwich, still the number one sandwich across the franchise. The French dip sandwich, I think, is going to challenge for that number one spot. The double club, the single club, you can pair those up with a great sandwich, salad, California-style pizzas, all available for catering from a group of 5 to 500, a small office party to a large corporate event. Joel Brumfield, they've done a great job for my
rates as low as 3.99, and yes, specials on the all-new Frontier V6, $3,000 instant savings and rates as low as 2.99. See Kylan or BJ today at Townsend Nissan.
Big Mike's downtown Moundville, only about 15 minutes from where I'm located. Also in Gunnersville, Alabama, Thomasville, Andalusia, Auburn, Alabama, Orange Beach. You'll find one of the best steaks in the state of Alabama, voted by the Alabama Cattlemen's Association and many other great publications recognizing the great ribeye, the seafood entrees. You'll find those, the great.
And these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
You're listening to the best sports talk show, breaking down the Crimson Tide. The Game with Ryan Fowler on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Tuscaloosa Tide at 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. We're going to Barrett Sallee. You can find him on Outkick. You can find him on the Smothered and Covered podcast. Barrett Sallee on the Twitter account. Find him there. He's also the host of SiriusXM College Sports Sunday, and that'll be firing up very, very soon. A lot of college football topics. Barrett, I hope all is well. Welcome into the game in Tuscaloosa.
Thank you, Ryan. Doing good over here. Hope you're having a great day over there.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm doing my show remotely down at the beach. So I'm overlooking the Gulf of Mexico.
There you go.
It's not a bad place to do a radio show. It's unique to be able to look out there and see the beautiful Gulf of Mexico. And the good thing is all those little kids are back in school, so it's kind of like an adult-only week down here, if you know what I'm talking about.
Nice and peaceful. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to have a different, unique view as well, because the Week 0 episode of College Sports Sunday with myself and Tom Luganville, I will be hosting from Dublin, Ireland, because I'm going out there for the Florida State Georgia Tech game.
Woo! How did you pull that off? I mean,
the game's got to be covered, so I put my hat in the ring, and somebody took it out and took me up on it.
Man, now listen, I'm not really, I don't know how do you feel about these international games? I mean, do you think it's good for the game of college football?
I think it is. I think with this one, having be a conference game is a little different. I understand, like it makes it important. Like it's not one of those novelty games. It's a big game because it matters in the race for the ACC title. I'd rather not have that. I'd like it to be more like the Chick-fil-A kickoff game or the one in Dallas or the one in Orlando where it's, two conferences out, one in Vegas, where it's at a conference matchup. But I think ultimately for the sport, going across the pond. I remember Cal played somebody in Australia one time. This is probably 10, 15 years ago. I'm okay with those things because it does reach an audience that is new. And if it matters in the world of college athletics, and they do, then that's always a good thing. And for college specifically, not the NFL, they bring the bands. You see the pageantry. It looks and feels more like what they're used to from their soccer crowds. So I think, honestly, college football has more of a place overseas than the NFL because it's more relatable for fans, whether it be in Australia or Ireland or wherever, because they're used to soccer or Aussie rules football and the parties that come with it.
Bear, we were just talking about a couple of minutes ago because one of the callers brought up undefeated. When we were covering SEC spring meetings, when I heard Kirby Smart address undefeated seasons down at SEC spring meetings down in Sandestin, he made the comment like, we're done with undefeated seasons. And that's the first time I've ever heard, a big time coach kind of address this with 12-team playoffs and, the level of difficulty of playing in this league. But Barrett, I'm going to throw it back to you. You think we're done with undefeated seasons?
No, there'll be one somewhere. There's going to be one.
But they're not going to be as common. Fair?
Oh, absolutely not common. I mean, I'd say let's just take, these 2 years plus the additional 6, which will be, kind of, where the playoff sort of falls. I would say there will be one out of those 8 years. Because there will be a juggernaut. There will be that LSU 2019. There will be that Miami, 2001, the team that lost actually, or the 92 team or whatever. There will be one of those. But they're going to be few and far between. And I mean, look, even that LSU team back in 2019, they survived a game against Auburn, at home. That was close. They won on the road against Texas in a close game, but, there will be teams like that, but they will be few and far between. And I think it'll happen once, between now and when the contract gets changed for the third time.
Barrett, there seems to be a lot of positive vibe coming out of the first 10 days of practice. Coming out of scrimmage number 1, Kalen DeBoer was asked the question, what would you like to accomplish in the next couple of weeks? What would be your focus? And he says, stay healthy. But he also followed that up and says, I'm pleased with where we're at currently. This buzz around Alabama, 2 weeks into camp, it feels like they've got something special brewing in T-Town.
Well, I think that there's no doubt that Kalen's going to make it look that way. He's going to present it as things are going just fine. He has to, because he's in a very unique situation, literally, because this is not a normal situation that he's in. But there's work to be done. Obviously, there needs to be a go-to receiver. There needs to be a little more depth in the back end. There are things that need to happen. But I think for any coach, doing all right, feeling good right now is the only reaction you can have other than, oh, dang, we had one of our guys get injured, like with Florida, with Montrell Johnson or C.J. Baxter at Texas. You don't want that stuff to happen. But if you don't have any injuries and your coach is still, playing down your team at this point, something's wrong. So I'm not surprised that he's acting that way. I'm not surprised he's presenting it that way. And that's a good sign. But again, it's fall camp. I'd be shocked if somebody wasn't excited about their team at this time. It goes back to, Steve Spurrier was at South Carolina, probably 2013. And he gave a press conference or just an on-the-field scrum where he basically trashed his entire team just for fun. And it's, that stuff never happens, but it was hilarious.
Well, it's and we're also still learning, is Kalen DeBoer going to be those professional poor mouth coaches where, everything is awful, 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 or is he going to be the other extreme where everything is great? Everything is great, right? I'm still learning because early on, 200 and something days into the tenure, he seems like he's a very positive type attitude coach that everything, he looks at it from a half full rather than a half empty perspective.
Yeah, it does seem like how he presents it. And, you have very limited interaction with him. And, I think for all of them, he hadn't been a head coach very long, so really the first time that we've really got a chance to see him and the first chances we had to sort of gauge who he was last year when he was with Washington, right? Like nobody really knew much about it. And from all we've seen in a short sample size, he does feel like that he's, extremely positive. And we talked about it, earlier this offseason, what is Kalen DeBoer, what's he like? It's like he's Nick Saban, but more pleasant, publicly. He's very nice. He's, he says a lot of the same things in terms of coach speak, but he presents it in a little more positive way. And that, I don't think there's any reason not to believe he's being genuine about it either.
Barrett, let's travel around some SEC teams, and a lot of people have asked me, but you know how when you're covering one team, you kind of get these blinders on, right? I mean, it just it consumes almost all of your time. Let's go around the league because something tells me there was some scrimmages around. Let's stay in the state. What have you heard from Auburn? Give me an update on what happened over the weekend on their scrimmage.
I think they're very, very happy with the passing game. Mostly because of the receivers. Robert Lewis from Georgia Tech, Cam Follin, we know what he's capable of as a freshman. The kid from Penn State, that they have weapons. I think I've heard that Q is giving Peyton Thorne much more autonomy, I guess is the way, freedom, I guess is the way to put it, at the line of scrimmage because he trusts his receivers. And those receivers can get open. And I think you're seeing, I've heard a lot about how it's not just those three. We're talking too deep on the depth chart, guys who can make a difference, guys who can make an impact, in addition to Rivaldo Fairweather at tight end. So the biggest thing to me is that Peyton Thorne has the trust of his coaches now. I don't think he had that last year. And that the receiving core, which includes the tight end, can actually get open. And they have a rapport with the quarterback because really, you go back last year, they weren't getting open. Like they just weren't that good. They weren't getting open. The new crew combined with the tight end, who actually was pretty good last year in Fairweather, they seem to be gelling pretty well. So, if you're Auburn, you have that. You already got the most experienced running back core in the SEC, I believe it is. It's 93% of the production back or something like that. It's a good sign.
How about Georgia? Anything coming out of Athens for their fall scrimmage probably over the weekend?
They're happy with Trevor Etienne, but they need a little more in terms of depth. They think they have it in Branson. They think they have it with some other guys. But I think that, Georgia's at its best when they have a 1A and a 1B, right? Like it's always 1A and 1B, whether it's Marshall and Gurley or Chubb and whoever. Like that's just when they're at their best, and that spans multiple coaching staffs. They don't have that 1B yet. They think they'll get it, and probably Branson will be the guy, but they do need one. I think they feel like they're best suited when they have that 1-2 punch and can get one of them associated out of the backfield as a receiver just as much, if not more, than a running back. And you saw that in 2021. James Cook was almost exclusively a wide receiver. So they're still looking for that guy.
That seems to be a lot of talk. Let's go to Texas. And when you look at the Longhorns, losing their running back last week was probably a little bit of a crack. How are they going to be able to absorb this injury that's going to hurt when you look at the amount of quality there at the top?
Yeah, the depth hurts. Jaden Blue's a really good running back, though. That's the thing is I think Baxter was obviously the star, but Jaden Blue's good too, and he's had moments where he's looked like he's capable of being the dominant 1A as well. It's going to put more pressure on Quinn Ewers, which it's fine. Quinn can handle that, but it kind of like Georgia, Texas needs to have multiple guys, and so that I think is suddenly something that has become more of a pressing issue at camp. But as far as number ones go, is there a big difference between Baxter and Jaden Blue? Not really. But I think the depth is a problem, and Sark has really talented players. He's just got to find a way to figure out, how to operate them behind Jaden Blue. And it also, it doesn't help Isaiah Bond and that crew either, because they're going to be counted on a little bit more, which, again, they're talented, they're fine, but as you and I know, talent has never been in question with some of those guys that transferred into Austin from Tuscaloosa. There might be some other things that you can question, but talent isn't one of them.
Barrett, there does seem to be a lot of topics around the world of college football, but as you said, we're 19 days away from that week number 1, but even closer for the week 0 game that you're going to be covering there in Dublin, Ireland. Man, I appreciate you for jumping on. A lot of excitement building around the world of college football, and I guess the only thing we all have in common, everybody's undefeated at this point. Everybody's undefeated.
That's right. Hope springs eternal, and then pretty soon everybody hates everybody.
Hey, Barrett, promote everything that you're involved in. Literally, spend as much time as you need to promote everything and how people can connect with you.
Yeah, you can follow the podcast. Got some big news coming on the podcast. Got college football smothered and covered on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you get your audio or video. Also, columns on Outkick, radio on Sirius XM, and like I said, some big news coming for the podcast here in the coming days and weeks. So really excited about that. And then, leave for Dublin a week from this Wednesday. So going to have a lot of coverage on all sides of that game from across the pond.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I've never been to Europe. Always wanted to go and spend some time. It would be awesome. It would be awesome.
I will definitely try to find a way to fit in 9 holes. There will be some time off, I'm sure, to play 9 holes.
So hold on a minute. Hold on. You're carrying the golf clubs?
No, but I checked with some golf clubs over there, and you can rent clubs for free. They have plenty of clubs for free for tourists. Okay.
Man, wow. What a trip. What a trip.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Gordon McGinnis from ProFootballFocus.com. He is there.
I know who he is.
Yeah, you need to contact him, man, because he can give you a lot of good tips, and he's one of our college football fanatics. He's a fanatic, but he does a lot of their social network. He was kind of moved into a management role, but Gordon would be the guy because we love to feature him, and I could be glued just listening to them talk. Maybe just like throw the mic and give them a phone book and tell them to read it. But
exactly.
I always enjoy it. Yeah, love to hear them say the way that they do, or way that talk the way that they do. Barrett, I appreciate you, man. I'll tell people to connect with you on all the different platforms. SiriusXM, Channel 84, College Sports Sunday. Then you can also find him on Outkick, Smothered and Covered, where you get your podcast. Hey, Barrett, we'll talk again next Monday, man. Thanks again.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hey, we'll continue with more of the game. We'll take your phone calls. We got Martin Houston coming up here. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama.
Find us on Facebook, Andrew Kniffer Agency. Once again, you can reach us at 205-722-9201. Allstate, are you in good hands?
Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets in downtown Tuscaloosa, 1010 Queen City Avenue. For over 60 years, they've been serving our community. They specialize in a large inventory of fresh flowers, weddings, gourmet fruit baskets. If you're trying to lift someone's spirits, it is Pat's Florist Gourmet Baskets by calling 205-345-5093. Delivery options are available, but it's more than just flowers at Pat's Florist and Gourmet Baskets, 1010 Queen City Avenue.
30 miles. And if they don't have what you need, they'll get it. Cypress Supply, 2036 62nd Avenue, Tuscaloosa. Cypress-supply.com.
Southern Ale House, 1530 McFarland Boulevard. As you know, it's one of my favorite places. Eat Southern, be Southern, the daily lunch and dinner specials, the great menu that features that Southern cuisine, like the bacon wrapped meatloaf, the fish and taters, the biscuit sandwiches, the great steaks, the great chicken entrees, great sandwiches, including the pickle burger, the Ale House burger, the yard bird, great desserts, and always that featured bread pudding that Brett Garner's cooking up. Let Southern Ale House cater your special.
And these changes within just a couple of days.
Text support to 511-511.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Tax fees may apply.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly sunny this afternoon. The high today 92. For tonight fair with the low at 70. Tomorrow sunny, the high 93. Wednesday partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers or storms by afternoon. The high 94. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Right back into the game here in Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. You can download the Tide 100.9 app. And let me also remind you about the Standard Pizza. It's the home of the 20-inch pizza pie, pepperoni meat lovers, cheese. Design your own. You can go in and have wings, boneless wings. You can have the fried mac and cheese bites. Those are great. It's a full-service restaurant or order online, thestandardbama.com. It's also available by DoorDash, carry-out, right there on University Boulevard. Appreciate those guys for always being a part of our show, thestandardbama.com, thestandardbama.com. Let's continue with more of the game, and we'll get more into the conversation there as we will dive into that coming up in a couple of minutes. We'll go to Martin Houston. We'll talk about the scrimmage, and then we're done. We're going to take your phone calls. Tommy, get ready. Wayne and Destin, you guys are first up right here on the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama.
Reordering a snap. Need to modify an order? No problem. So when it comes to food for work, make it easy on yourself with EasyCater. Start your order at EasyCater.com.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Byer.
New York Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick still is not reported to the team, and in fact today requested a trade. The Jets were quick to answer as GM Joe Douglas released a statement saying that they will not trade Reddick and they'll continue to fine him if he does not report to the team under the current rules of the CBA. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will play in the team's preseason finale against the Seahawks. He's not going to play in their preseason game against the Vikings, but is expected to take part in their joint practices this week as he returns from a shoulder surgery. Georgia is number one in the AP Top 25 college football preseason poll. They received 46 out of a possible 62 first-place votes. Ohio State is second. Oregon is ranked third. The SEC put 9 schools in the top 25. NBA schedule starting to leak. Opening night, we'll have the Knicks at the Celtics, while Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran was suspended 2 games for using an anti-gay slur during a game on Sunday. Dodgers activated Mookie Betts.
I got spirit, I got faith. I might bend, but I won't break. I'll fight the elements. And I'ma go down swinging. If I go down, I'ma go down swinging.
You know, I'm reminded as when you hear the Nate Oates song, don't forget about the Pigskin Kickoff 2024. It's the 2024 Men's Pigskin Kickoff. It's happening at the University Church of Christ, August the 26th. It's going to be featuring John Hanna, the Pro Football Hall of Fame member, College Football Hall of Fame member, one of the greatest offensive linemen to ever play the game. Nate Oates, Final Four coach, University of Alabama head basketball coach. He's going to be sharing a lot of great stories. Cedric Burns, is going to be there as well, the athletic relations coordinator for the University of Alabama, and a silent auction also benefiting Tuscaloosa Angels. Doors open and food will be served at 5:15. The program will start at 6 p.m. It's going to be August the 26th. You can call the University Church of Christ if you're looking for tickets. And these tickets will go very, very quickly. We just released those on Friday, and that will be the pigskin kickoff. So you can call the University Church of Christ, or you can also call David Harden and that number directly if you're looking for, maybe a table sponsorship, or it's 205-454-7088, 205-454-7088, David Harden, or just call the University Church of Christ there. The pigskin kickoff. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we go here to Tommy and Romulus. Tommy, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well. I'm glad you answered one of my questions right off the bat about that pigskin kickoff. They did.
Yeah, that one.
Go ahead.
Yeah, last time you cleaned up on the silent auction, man. I mean, you rock and roll. I mean, I think we had to get like an 18-wheeler to carry all the stuff out that you won. Or not won, but you bid on.
It was a U-Haul, but don't exaggerate. People don't like you exaggerate.
I mean, you put me to work.
I know. You're softy, Ryan. You're softy. You have to be. You're soft. I got some bad news for you. You want to hear it? Brett Gardner is entertaining clients so his son can get a job. So you better get off the beach and come back to Tuscaloosa and get tough so you can cover Caleb DeBoer and our basketball coach and other sports. You're soft, Ron. You're softy Fowler. Tough enough.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with somebody taking a vacation, man.
Not when people are trying to get your job. Why you think Brett did a good job up in the menu while you were gone? He's showing out. He's putting a good word in the young. Yeah, you're in trouble, man. You're in big time trouble. I'm just warning you. I'm not a friend of yours, everybody said, but I'm just giving you a heads up. You might be in danger. Lord Gardner is coming after you.
Well, I guess. He did it. He did do an incredible job. Mike Griffith still won't talk to me.
Well, the kid is good.
I wonder what Finn thinks about this team. You think he's buying the hype that I'm selling?
Oh, I bet you he is. He put all these other callers into place. He runs a tight ship. Finn is a man. He's coming. Reese Davis, baby, careful too. The sky is the limit for that young man.
Are you going to the pigskin kickoff? You going to try to get tickets?
I'm going to try to get tickets after I get done. I guess tomorrow I'll call them. Might be too late how they moved. Only reason I got tickets last year, you had them, and you say you try and give them away on the show. Oh, you want tickets? I went, yeah, when in? Oh, you got 3 hours to get up here. Yeah, you put me in the bond, but it was well worth it.
Well, that was, hey, listen, man, and John Hanna, to be able to hear John Hanna and Nate Oates and Cedric Burns, the athletic director of relations. Cedric's been around this university for a long, long time.
Over 30 years.
My goal of interviewing, just like I did with Coach Terry Jones last year, I'm going to be interviewing both Cedric Burns and Nate Oates, is to just not get them in trouble. Let them tell some stories, but, also make sure that Cedric's got a job on Monday after we get done.
Well, sure. Yeah. Marty, answer your question about the Miami coaches won national championship the first year. I don't know if it was Yost or Fitz Trice from Michigan won a national championship his first year up there, but I know the Miami coaches, yeah. But it was different. Miami were owning the 80s in college football, and they were breaking every freaking rule that wasn't written or wasn't in the book. Or, you didn't have to have it written down. They broke every rule there was. So after we took care of them
Tommy, did you have any sources at the scrimmage?
Well, yeah. They was real happy that we didn't have stupid penalties, like movement or jumping off sides and stuff. I mean, for first scrimmage, what I've been told by a couple of people, they look very crisp.
They did. Well, I mean, and we'll go back. I want to play the audio before I go to Wayne and Destin. But I mean, when you have a coach that stands up and says, "Hey, we're pleased with where we're at currently," it's a big comment. I mean, you don't ever hear too many coaches saying that. Now, we're still learning about who Kalen DeBoer is, Mr. Positive. But combined with what I heard behind the scenes, sounds like he's got a really good football team.
Yeah, and he's going to be a good coach, and they're still ripping on him. I got a question. Maybe Paul and Lincoln can answer this. We put 9 teams in the top 25 in the college poll, right? I listened to last night that Alabama and Auburn's going to fight it out for a 10-game winning season. Bryant Denny, whoever wins that game will go to the playoff. I mean, they picked now, putting them in the playoffs, and they didn't make it the top 25. I mean, I thought all the crap I've been hearing the last 3 weeks, how they dominate the state in 26 recruiting. Didn't you figure they'd be in at least the top 3 in the polls? Auburn got it. Auburn got swag.
They've got that 1985 Chicago Bear defense, man, and one of the best, Walter Payton style running backs. I mean, it is off the charts with Hugh Hefner, man.
Oh, yeah, they got a couple of Willie Galts in the receiving room from the 85 Bears. I mean, I can't believe they're not in the top 25. I mean, I thought these guys in the national polls was up to date. I thought they knew what they were talking about. Oh, I'm sorry. I bumped my head yesterday. I'm in the delusionville. The national media never know what they're talking about. I'm sorry, Ron. Amnesia just hit me. I'm back.
I hear you. Tommy, I appreciate you, man.
All right. Talk to you later. Have fun. Don't get your toes sunburned.
Well, make sure you water the fish for me, man. Thanks.
I know. I was going to tell you stay 2 weeks. I'm not watering the freaking fish the second week. You got to come up with something. Good.
Is it cold up there in Tuscaloosa?
It was nice. I had them make some midnight runs, and it was nice to drive with the window down. At 2 o'clock,
gotcha.
4 o'clock.
Well, looks like we've got 90s expected every day. It's currently, I think today's going to be one of the hottest days. 93 feels like 104 here, but hey, pulling for some rain back in Tuscaloosa. Tommy, have a great rest of your day, man.
All right, man. Talk to you later. Take care. Road Talk.
Hey, right back to you. Let's go to Wayne in Destin. Wayne, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
It is good, Brian. It is good. I've got a question for you.
Okay, talk to me.
But I've got to go. Let's go to Barrett Sallee first. This isn't a question. The Auburn homer sounds like somebody that's covers Kamala Harris when you ask him something about Trump. I mean, he doesn't know. He doesn't know anything about Alabama. If you noticed when you asked him that a minute ago, he said, "Yeah." He goes, but I don't know if he's just. Coach DeBoer, if he's really telling the truth of this, that, and the other. And then he goes on to say that his wide receivers are too deep at Auburn. And last time I checked, listening to you, we've got more wide receivers than tight ends, and you know what to do with. They do.
I mean, and we'll play this audio coming up in a couple of minutes from Kalen DeBoer talking about the wide receivers. This wide receiver room, yeah, they lost a lot of talent from last year, but I think this wide receiver room in this system has a chance to be very explosive.
That's what I've gotten from you. Well, look, here's my question. I heard you say earlier at the beginning of the show, a guy called, I can't remember who called in, but he asked you he said this coaching staff, he said he thought Saban would have been ranked higher and done better. You go, hold on, whoa. I'm not so sure about that. And the thing that stuck out in my head when you said that is I'm not sure, Ron, that if you took this coaching staff away from DeBoer and gave it to Nick, that it would be as dynamic as it is with DeBoer. Does that make sense?
And this is, and it's not trying to be disrespectful to Coach Saban. It's just trying to look at it saying, okay, guys, when the last few years, when you look at, from a recruiting standpoint, it was there. But from a coaching standpoint, they really, it was weak. Let's just call it what it is. I mean, you think Tommy Rees was his first choice? Let me answer that in 2 words. Heck no. No. Yeah. You think Kevin Steele? And I'm going to tell you this. One of these days I'm going to tell the story of maybe how I got involved with that defensive coordinator search, because I was hearing some names that was pretty slim pickings on the defensive coordinator side of things. I reached out to someone and I told him, I said, hey, I'm hearing this. This guy went, no way. Now he's got Nick Saban's ear. Nick Saban listens to this guy. He said, I'll find him a better defensive coordinator. I'll find him somebody. Because, he was throwing out names because he couldn't hire anybody. He could not hire quality, which kind of goes back to maybe Pete Golding. Maybe he did get on his hands and knees and ask Pete Golding to stay in Tuscaloosa. But defensive coordinator, Kevin Steele, he was at the twilight of his career. He did a serviceable job, but not really. It really wasn't what we thought it could be. And I think Nick Saban admitted to that, via Chris Lowe, that this season wore him out. Why did it wear him out? Yeah. Because he was having to make up the difference between the weak assistant coaches that he had. Not all. Like the Coleman Hutzler guy that went to Mississippi State as a defensive coordinator. I wouldn't let him coach my Kentucky Pee Wee football team. No, I promise you. I've heard stories from outside linebackers that are playing in the NFL. The technique that he was teaching was laughable.
Wow. Well, I wouldn't. I promise you, I love Coach Saban. He's, him and Coach Brian they're irreplaceable. That old school stuff, just like we were talking the other day on your show about, when I grew up, the coaches snatched you around by your face mask. Today they want to throw you in jail for it. But Nick's old school, and some of these coaches coming up, the board wants his coaches to talk and have a personality, and that helps recruiting. It really does. And Nick didn't need anybody because everybody and their brother wanted to play for him. But you still got to coach them up when they get here. And I think that's the big difference. I think the board's personality with these coaches and letting them coach and letting them do their thing, he draws the best coaches to him. You said that. You said the guy that we had on the radio show that said it was the best coaching staff in the country. I can't get over. You need to open the show every day with that so people that keep saying 8-4 will understand how blessed we are.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are just missing with this team. I know that because in your mind, you're looking at the greatest football coach to ever walk the sidelines retire. But in your frame of mind, I think we just took for granted that, Nick Saban's got the best. He's got the best. He's got the best. And I think when you look at it from a coaching staff standpoint, these players, because it really doesn't matter what Wayne and I think. It's about the players. Listening to the players talk. Listen to them talk about these assistant coaches. They're bought in. Yeah. So whatever they're presenting behind the scenes on a video board or plays or the scheme that they're trying, sounds like these guys are bought in. Sounds like these guys are saying, yeah, I like what this, the energy level at practice, it looks like a different football team. And many of these guys are the same, personnel that they had. Many of these guys are the same guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just listen to you. Every day. Again, you get somebody like Sully, Barrett Sully, or even Feinbaum on national radio saying stupid stuff when they haven't been at the practices. They're just regurgitating things that they hear. They have no idea what's going on up there. And that, I guess as an Alabama fan, you get a little we're not used to people doubting
and I've
us.
often, I know they've got to, I don't know how these cover 14 schools, because I know what it takes to cover one school and how many times, I've worked behind the scenes, but I don't know how you cover Alabama from Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't get it. I mean, other than just regurgitate what somebody else wrote about, or, because you're not here. You're not here. Good luck. I mean, hey, do it your way, man. Do it your way. But, but I promise you, like, if Alabama wins, can you imagine what the narrative is going to be? Well, he did it with Nick Saban players. He did it with this. And really, that's so opposite, because he had to re-recruit all of these guys. Every player on that team could have left and said, hey, man, adios, appreciate you, love you. I'm not going to stick around. You guys have fun. He could have done that.
Yeah. I got one other question for you real quick before I get off here.
Okay.
So, all right, earlier you were talking to somebody where y'all count the games, either 16 or 17 if you make it to the national championship and you play in the SEC game or championship. Don't you think, remember, Nick wouldn't really want to play second string. We couldn't understand why we never got our second strings. I think in order to play it now, you've touched on a little bit about 2 or 3 deep. I think the board's planning on playing more platoon type like Coach Bryant did. He's got to create depth. Wouldn't you think?
I think there's 2 things. I think you got to get younger guys quicker, ready. You got to be able to, you've got to be able to do that. But also, because of this portal, you better be getting a lot of these guys backups. You better be able to work these guys in. If not, man, you're going to be in trouble. I mean, you've got some chance to, from a transfer portal standpoint, man, you have, because this is not even 5 years ago. This is not college football and I also think that's what interferes with some of our judgment on, what it takes to win, what it takes to win at this level. I think you better be able to navigate the transfer portal, but you also have to keep these guys engaged. You have to. And go back to the quarterback room.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the attrition, just the pounding in the SEC, from a 12 or a 13 game to 17, you've got to play other players. At the end of it, you'll be so out of gas by the 16th or 17th game. I don't know if you don't even get anybody hurt. They'll be nicked up so bad and so tired they won't be the same team you watched in the middle of the season.
Good point. Yeah, so you've got to be able to. The way that you manage a roster is a lot different than the way you managed it, 4 or 5 years ago, or even probably 2 years ago. And if there is one thing that you could throw at Coach Saban, this probably sounds a little harsh, but he came from the NFL background, and the NFL is play as limited number of players as you possibly can. That's what he did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Think about it. You would sit there. So from an NFL perspective, they don't play a lot of guys. They just don't. So that's where we're at. I think you have to manage it. You have to keep every player on that team believes that he's got a role. If not, he's gone. You think look at the quarterbacks. Go back to the quarterbacks when you were talking about this spring. Go back and listen to the quarterbacks. Think about the quarterbacks. We thought you might have at least 1, if not 2 guys that would put their name in the portal. What happened?
Yeah.
0. None.
Right.
What does that mean? That they feel like that they're better in Tuscaloosa as a backup than transferring to another location and fighting for a starting job. It's a big statement.
Yeah, I think it's the ice cream. I swear I think it's the ice cream. I'm just kidding.
It could be.
I'm kidding with you.
I know.
You're right.
I know you are.
I was playing, but you're right. It's they're all engaged, but I just feel like we're going. You remember? Listen, with Coach Saban all these years, we'd want to see the backup quarterback or the backup running back. A lot of times I stay to the game. Susan, my wife, would go, well, we've got this thing won. Or I'm watching on TV. I'm going, wait a minute, I want to see the backups get in there and see if they can throw the football and see the new. And we just never did it. And that's what you need to do to build depth is play those people in the second half if you're ahead. Don't worry about statistics. In 17 games, you're going to get statistics.
It's a good point. Good point.
Right? Okay.
Hey, Wayne, great stuff, man. I appreciate you as always.
All right, Ryan, have a good vacation, my man. Talk to you later.
Right back to you. Hey, it's Rumsey Environmental. It's a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. When you have to know it's being done right, that's the time to call Rumsey Environmental, 205-248-0002, 205-248-0002. We roll on. We're taking more phone calls coming up in a couple of minutes. Robert and Brookwood, get ready. You're on deck, and we'll take you next. T-Town Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Internal battles in a bankruptcy filing are claiming yet another major chain in Tuscaloosa, with LL Flooring shutting 94 of its 300 stores, including the one on McFarland Boulevard. And a Georgia man is in the Tuscaloosa County Jail facing a slew of felony charges in connection to a scam calling scheme, which happens often but rarely leads to an arrest. And the preseason AP poll has been released for the college football season, with the Alabama Crimson Tide ranking outside of the top 3. You can read about these stories and more at thetuscaloosathread.com.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, hello to you and happy Monday afternoon. We got a bit of a problem on McFarland Boulevard, and this is on the westbound side at I-20. You do want to watch out for a fender bender. Traffic is a little slow. And speaking of slow, well, definitely
and protects.
Now you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for $37.99.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Don Wallace CPA, 527 Main Avenue in downtown Northport. Small business and personal income taxes, payroll, sales tax needs. They can also help you with nonprofit or church accounting or auditing. In business since 1999, they work for you, not the IRS. When you take on taxes, you got to have someone on your side. It's Don Wallace CPA.
Rubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Switch for Power Mop. Switch for Power Mop.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky mostly sunny this afternoon. The high today 92. For tonight's fair with the low at 70. Tomorrow sunny, the high 93. Wednesday partially sunny. The chance of a few isolated showers or storms by afternoon. The high 94. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
The best breakdown of Alabama.
We've been pumping a little sunshine. We're starting to believe that this Alabama football team's got a chance. Let's go back to that wide receiver room, because everything that you're hearing around Ryan Williams, buy it. Buy it. If you think Ryan Williams, if you've heard anything about Ryan Williams, the chances are it's probably true. Let's go back to this wide receiver room. Now, Kalen's not going to identify Ryan Williams, but we've all heard the buzz. Here is what Kalen DeBoer said about that wide receiver room.
Yeah, the ball was spread around. You know, when you have scrimmages like this, you're not like, we'll personnel things and we'll get guys in certain spots in the game plan. Right now, especially in a first scrimmage, a lot of it is just, you're just lining up and we call it X, Y, Z, and H. And so those guys are playing those spots. And so the ball really gets spread around. I bet if we looked at the stat sheet, it would be almost every receiver catching balls. So it's not like one guy had, 5 to 7 catches. They all walk away from a day like today probably disappointed, and there's no reason to be disappointed. It's just because everyone gets involved, everyone gets their touches. And, so it's not like anyone was highlighted today. There's just good, solid plays that I'd expect guys to make, and they made them. Really didn't see the ball on the ground when you have those clear-cut catches, and that's I guess what I like, is that the plays that should be made, they were being made.
You like that? Yeah, there were some big plays. Listen, I think anybody's heard the Caleb Odom catch. Did you guys hear about that? One-handed, jumped up, kind of did the Odell Beckham, grab it out of the air. Yeah, Caleb Odom, freshman. He was a tight end. Now he's a wide receiver. It gives you a lot of size. Cole Adams also caught a touchdown in the back of the end zone. Could have been reviewed, but was pushed out. Don't know exactly how close that was, but I heard it was probably reviewable, but it was a touchdown to the back of the end zone. C.J. Dupree had a big catch. You also had Jam Miller catch a big one. Alabama can beat you a lot of different ways on the offensive side of the football. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we'll get to these right here. Let's go. And I had Robert up next, but it was actually Bubba. Bubba was up next. Bubba, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
It's all is well. I apologize for earlier today. I don't know what happened. I was in the car line at school, and I must have hit the wrong button trying to talk to the teacher. But we got back in. That's all that matters.
Problem. Yeah, no problem. What's on your mind, my friend?
I was real jealous of you last night doing that live show feed from the beach last night, and I was sitting here. That's not right, Fowler. That's a foul right there. That's a 15-yard penalty right there.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Yeah.
And no, you don't need to stay 2 weeks either. You need to come home. You'll eat yourself to death down there if you stay for 2 weeks.
Well, I won't be able to eat myself to death because I've watched the economy. And I'm not going to say the place's name, but we went down to a restaurant that we always go to. Okay, which is one of our little favorite places down here. We like to go to this one place, and I've been ordering the same meal, the same platter, big seafood platter. It's got your fried oysters, it's got your fried shrimp, it's got stuffed shrimp, it's got all these different types of places, and numbers stick in my head. Bubba, I remember what I paid for a gallon of milk 3 days ago. Okay. If you walk up and tell me your name 5 minutes later, I'm probably going to forget it because names don't stick, but numbers do. Yeah. I know what I paid in March.
Right.
And I know what I paid yesterday for that same meal. It was $10 more expensive but I can't blame the company.
I believe it.
It's the price.
You know why? Well, plus it's before Labor Day. You go after Labor Day, they break out the other price.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it has to do with what's happening in Washington, D.C. And I was reading an article a few minutes ago about the great inflation spike in the past 3 years, and to think that we actually have Americans out here that believe that this is the right direction for our country. Man, you guys, yeah, you guys need to call, I don't know, your preacher or your psychologist one and say, what's happened upstairs, man? My brain cells may have, didn't really check a lot of the boxes, but, maybe they've got more money than most of us. Maybe they can afford a $9 gallon of milk, or, a $5 loaf of bread, or, a $6 gallon of gasoline, because that's where we're going. I mean, we're headed that way.
Yeah, it is.
And really, Bubba.
But anyway, get back to the.
Yeah, there's a lot of Americans that are hurting right now, and many of this is self-inflicted, and some of these folks that
you ain't got to tell me nothing. I'm on disability, so I know all about it, and Medicare. Well, I know firsthand.
Some of these folks that have chose this method, that hurting their fellow Americans. I don't know, man. That seems, very hateful in my opinion, but, they'll have to live with that guilty conscience, knowing that, they allowed business owners to lose their business. people to lose their retirement plans. You know, if you can live with that, then hey, go on, do it.
Getting back to football. I got real excited. I got real excited when I saw that Ryan Williams caught a long touchdown pass. But then I changed my mind because I said somebody blew some coverage. We didn't cover that guy. This is one of our guys that we are going to depend on trying to cover Ryan Williams, and he can't even do that. How's he going to cover anybody else? So that's what I got out, you know, of the scrimmage.
Well, I think there is some give and take, right? I think there is some give and take, right? You're wanting your offense to explode, but you kind of want your defense. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Kalen DeBoer said that in the opening comments. We'll play that in the next segment, but he said there was some give and take. It wasn't all one-sided. It was not all, you know, from a one-sided perspective. Yeah, it's you know, there was some give and take.
Was it ones against the ones?
You're talking about the Ryan Williams pass from Jalen Miller? Yeah, it was ones. Yeah, it was ones against ones. It was ones against ones.
Okay. But that catch that Odom did, oh my gosh, what do we got to look forward to him? Lord of mercy, he may be the come-out guy out of all of this. And then after the scrimmage was over, I got to thinking I picked the wrong receiver last week. I wonder if Ryan's going to let me change my mind. Anyway, I picked the one from Washington is what I picked. But how many more scrimmages they got left?
I think they've got one more because I don't think.
And then they go in a game. They got a game prep after that.
Yeah, and normally what they'll do is they'll do a game operations scrimmage where they'll walk through and you know they'll still do practice, but like okay, so you've got let me just look. See, you've got
right.
Well, you've got this past Saturday, and then you've got upcoming. You've only got one more scrimmage. Yeah, you got one more scrimmage, and then you got a walk through that'll be on that Saturday morning prior to the season. Then we'll kick this thing off. So I mean, you got this coming Saturday, you're 2 weeks away. Yeah, you're 2 weeks away. So you have one more scrimmage on Saturday, and then like I said, I mean that's not, but they go good on good quite often.
Right. I had a brainstorm the other day. Getting back to what we did, the parlay pick contest. Give us those games the day before. That way you don't have to go through with every other person that calls wanting to get in the contest. That way you'll have it, and then on Friday we'll be ready to go. This idea.
Well, but it changes though, Bubba. The line literally changes up until the day.
Oh, so, you're right. I didn't even think. Yeah, my bad. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's my bad. But that was all.
Well, but you can look at the lines the day before, and we try to keep those, very consistent. We'll do the SEC plus some of the bigger national games.
What I started doing the day before, I did this last year. All right, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Thank you, man. Robert and Brookwood, get ready. We'll come to you in 2 minutes, and we'll also hear Kalen DeBoer because he described what we were talking about a couple of minutes ago. We'll continue with more of the game. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Rumsey Environmental, a one-stop shop serving West Alabama for all of your waste removal needs. If you're in the construction business, take a little bit of stress out of your life. The construction debris removal containers customized to fit your job site, the portable toilet service, the storage containers to protect your valuables. It's Rumsey Environmental for that complete waste removal service when you have to know.
For more information, contact us at 205-333-0231 or visit behwater.biz.
For over 5 years in our community in downtown Northport under that Roll Tide Bridge, Mark's Mark, the home of the chicken swirl. You'll find that since 1978 in Selma, Alabama, for over 5 years in downtown Northport. If you want to dominate the grill today or any day, find Mark's Mark. A great stop by on your way home. If you're preparing for dinner, they've got a lot of those gourmet dishes that you can find, the great casseroles, the dips, the appetizers, the great steaks, the pork chops, the burgers, and all the supplies you need to dominate the grill.
Within 30 miles. And if they don't have what you need, they'll get it. Cypress Supply, 2036 62nd Avenue, Tuscaloosa.
Back into the game here in Tuscaloosa. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. Let's go here to Kalen DeBoer's opening comments, and then I'm going to go to Robert in Brookwood. And we do have two lines available if you want to jump in, 205-342-9904. We're talking about Alabama Crimson Tide football, recapping the big scrimmage on the campus of the University of Alabama and also Fan Day. Feel free to share some of those comments. Robert, we'll get to you here in about 90 seconds. Let's go back to Kalen DeBoer's opening comments because Bubba was asking about the give and take. You know, if your offense does good, then you're a little bit disappointed on the defensive side of the ball. And this is how Coach Kalen DeBoer responded to kind of some give and take on the offensive and defensive side of the ball.
It's good to be out there. Scrimmage one in the stadium. Good to be in your surroundings and get familiar with that. Been since the spring game, so ran about 100. I think it was 102 plays, maybe give or take one or two. 81 with the ones and twos, pretty balanced there. I think it was 40 to 41 plays, and then 21 plays, if I'm doing my math right, with the threes. So good give and take. Got some explosive plays. You got some tackles for loss. Obviously from my standpoint, you want the defense to do better on the explosive plays and not give those up. And you're proud of the offense, and then vice versa there with tackles for loss and sacks and things like that. But thought one thing I've seen over the last few practices, we've had the officials there. It's always going to be that way early in camp, some penalties and things like that. I thought we did a lot better job today. Really did a really good job, actually, when I think about it. I don't know the number, but very few. So guys were out there playing ball and just understand the rhythm, the tempo, really trying to take advantage of being in here. You got the coach-to-player communication. We use that every day in practice. It shuts off with 15 seconds. But really simulate it with the officials and what that looks pretty much down to the second. So got some good work there. And then also, the tablet, iPad, on the sideline. We took two breaks, 6 minutes or so just to get on the sideline and be able to understand what that looks like, because we, at this point, really aren't able to practice that in our complex during normal practices. So just using that and really understanding what the benefit is, take advantage of the confirmation or the learning opportunities that can happen in between drives during the breaks that we had today, but also not dwelling on it so much to where it affects our mindset and where our poise and confidence is going into the next drive. So proud of the guys. Thought they did a really good job staying relatively healthy, just your typical fall camp stuff. Guys dinged up a little bit here and there, but nothing more than what you'd expect.
Hey, good stuff. There you go. Bubba was asking about that. How do you kind of judge that? You do have to give and take a little bit, but it seemed like Kalen DeBoer's happy. You'll hear that in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll get to Robert in Brookwood. Robert, good afternoon, sir. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
All is well, brother. What's this, your 4th or 5th trip to the beach this year alone?
No. No.
Destin, you was at the beach several weeks ago after Destin, wasn't you?
Hold on. Whoa. Hold on. Now, don't throw me under the bus here, Robert. Now, hold on. All right. So that Sandestin trip, y'all don't believe this, but I spent less than 1 hour at the beach. That was a working trip. That was a working trip.
Hey, Ryan, it's still a drive down there that you can see the ocean, so that counts.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I flew over the ocean, but So then we went to the Pasadena, went to the Rose Bowl. Trust me, anytime you go to L.A. is not a vacation. I don't know why it's a reward for the players. It shouldn't be. That is the armpit of America. Ooh, glory, glory, glory. Oh.
2028 Olympics are going to be there.
Yeah, well, I hope they won't.
Oh, they'll clean it up for then.
Well, Gavin Newsom has done a really, really good job. But remember, that is, that's Kamala's America. I mean, that's where she wants to take the rest of us. So, yeah, good luck. I mean, we could be there. We'll see. Got a decision to make. But so then in January, no, I think it was in February, I went down for a few days. That was a post college football trip. And then I did go down for our 25th anniversary. We went down to Gulf Shores. And that's it. I didn't take an Alaska trip. I didn't do,
That's 2 trips. The Destin trip counts. That's 3, and this one's 4. I was right. I said 4 or 5.
Keeping an eye on me. Thanks, Robert. Yeah.
We love you. You're missed when you're not here.
Well, but I'm not going to miss any shows. I'm going to be. Now I did take the 1 day off coming back from Missouri. We did go up there, but now listen, that was a me being a tag along with my wife. You ever did that? You're like, your wife's got a travel obligation. You just kind of jump in the car and go with her. That's what that was all about. But, yeah.
Listen, Ryan, you told Marty something earlier, and I'm glad you told him. He's one of several Alabama fans seem to think, we don't have the pressure of having to worry about going undefeated no more because of this 12-team playoff. So I think everybody's going to lose. I think everybody's going to lose a game.
I just don't think you're – and we asked the question, I guess it was on Friday, is who is the most difficult, opponents that you'll play? Well, I think it's definitely Georgia, but there's a couple of games that you could have a hiccup. Listen, if you ask me to pin this team, I think they're probably about a 10-2, 11-1, because I just don't think undefeated, as you said.
Yeah.
When Kirby Smart, matter of fact, when I was down there on the Enjoy the Beach, Kirby Smart spoke at a press conference, media availability down at Sandestin. And he said it. He said, I don't think we're going to see undefeated teams any longer.
Well, the only reason Kirby said it, his little wussy schedule he's always had is over with. So, of course, he's going to say that. Now he's playing tougher competition.
Yeah, great point. Another great point. Robert, you're full of stingers today, man. You got the heat coming strong.
That's just what
we haven't even made it to LSU. Yeah, but we haven't even made it to LSU.
Well, I'm a little concerned about 2 road trips, and that is Tennessee. I think we'll win Tennessee and LSU, but still that could be potential loss. Can this team make it in at 9-3 if they lose? I've said all along they're going to lose at home to Georgia, and I'm sticking with it. I hope I'm wrong. And I'll gladly eat crow with lots of Jell-O or whatever you put on them. I hope to God we win the game, but I just think for some reason Georgia's going to get us here. It'll be a tight game. But I also said if we get them again, the SEC championship, we'll get them. But if you lose to Georgia, you're under a lot of pressure to make that SEC championship game. If you lose also to Tennessee or LSU, ever how that format's going to be this year. But they might be a lot of teams. I think every SEC team is going to have 1 or 2 losses, so they're going to have a tiebreaker system. I truly believe this year for that SEC championship game to decide who's going to go.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And we have not even learned all the tiebreakers.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
They knew they had to come up with something. Because like you said, 2 weeks from this Saturday, but a week from this Saturday, week 0 starts and several games start. So kicking off here in about 12 days.
I think we should let the Joe Biden pick the 2 teams that should be in the SEC title game. Just let him select who they're going to be.
He's doing more interviews now than he ever did as president because he's irrelevant now. They're keeping her hush and putting him on interviews. So,
yeah, it sounds like he was a little disappointed that this scam. Well, but if you really go back and look at it, how he got elected as the Democratic candidate. I'm not talking about the general election. I'm talking about the primaries. You know, he was kind of put in there. So, you know, the deep state can put you in. They can take you out. They took him out. So no thanks, Joe. Your services are no longer needed. It's bedtime. And, I mean, he had an option. You know, they were going to either, you know, put him in a pine box and, you know, put him under the ground, or, you know, he went out on his own and he chose to go that route. I mean, that's smart because, you know, they'll put you, they'll take you out, man. I mean, that's just what that party does. I mean, you know, you throw up any opposition and it's goodbye, Charlene.
A friend of mine, he's a pastor and he's really into politics. He said that before this ever happened, that he said they'll take him out.
He didn't have a choice. I mean, you either, you know, comply or you
you're dealing with vile, evil people, so that they do anything to stay in power.
Yeah.
So
you get sick, and man, Joe, we lost a good man, you know, and so so that's where we're at. But
well, brother, we hear all this stuff about the scrimmage, and all sounds great, but it's all countdown to how it's going to look when the season starts. So,
Robert, I see some anxiety. Here's some anxiety.
We all can talk how great. I mean, that's the thing about Alabama fans. We're all going 15-0 every year, but very rarely does it happen. Well, it's never happened 15-0. We've done 14-0 and 13-0 a couple times, but never that. So, hey, I agree with Jumbo. I think we can win it all. I just feel like there's a loss in there somewhere. I don't know where. I think it's Georgia. It might be somewhere else. I hope they're not. But, you know, I just want everybody to don't jump off the ship if we lose one game.
Hey, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, brother. Have a good one. Thank you.
Yep. We'll break. We'll continue with more of the game next. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We do have a bit of a delay on to McFarland Boulevard westbound at I-20. Now this is due to a fender bender. It looks like it's on its way out of there. Meanwhile, traffic on Northern Wallace is pretty much typical as you move on both the north and southbound lanes between 10th and...
Tuscaloosa is blessed to have such an excellent team at the Madison Cancer Center.
Great things are happening at DCH.
DanielMooreArt.com. Daniel Moore Art celebrates those special moments of Alabama football history like 4th and 31, Jalen Milroe connected with Isaiah Bond, or the legacy continues with all the great memories of Alabama Crimson Tide football. You can celebrate Coach Saban with a Nick Saban print, the limited edition canvas. You could also find many of the great mini prints. Celebrate that special Alabama fan in your life.
Control growth. They also perform an important function by controlling blood pressure and minerals like calcium and potassium to keep the entire body healthy.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Dan Beyer.
New York Jets edge rusher Hassan Reddick still has not reported to the team, and in fact today requested a trade. The Jets were quick to answer as GM Joe Douglas released a statement saying that they will not trade Reddick and they'll continue to fine him if he does not report to the team under the current rules of the CBA. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson will play in the team's preseason finale against the Seahawks. He's not going to play in their preseason game against the Vikings, but is expected to take part in their joint practices this week as he returns from a shoulder surgery. Georgia is number one in the AP Top 25 college football preseason poll. They received 46 out of a possible 62 first place votes. Ohio State is second. Oregon is ranked third. The SEC put 9 schools in the top 25. NBA schedule starting to leak. Opening night will have the Knicks at the Celtics, while Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran was suspended 2 games for using an anti-gay slur during a game on Sunday. Dodgers activated Mookie Betts.
Dos Amigos, Highway 69 in the new Publix Shopping Center. 11 a.m. opening, 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday closing at 9, Sunday through Thursday. Some great Mexican cuisine, the great fajitas, the great desserts, the great lunch specials. You'll find it at Dos Amigos in the Publix Shopping Center on Highway 69. Takeout orders always an option at 205-737-7344, 205-737-7344. Dos Amigos. The game is powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com. David DeSantis, the largest selection of new Toyotas in over 3 years, can be found on Skyline Boulevard, 3325 Skyline Boulevard. Also a nice inventory of pre-owned inventory. You can find the new Tundra, the 2024, the Tacoma two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. How about a new 4Runner, Highlander, RAV4, Camry, Corolla? For those outside of Tuscaloosa,
assist you with all of your CPAP needs, including the new Luna Travel CPAP. Call 339-8013 or stop by Mid-South in the Northbrook Plaza on McFarland Boulevard.
Rolling down a backwoods Tennessee byway, one arm on the wheel, holding my lover with the other, a sweet soft southern thrill. Worked hard all week, got a little jingle.
All right, let's count them together. You guys ready?
Saturday night.
18 national titles, 30 SEC titles, 147 first-team All-Americans, 77 postseason appearances, 45 postseason victories, 4 Heisman winners, the NCAA all-time scoring leader, and the greatest football coaches to ever walk the sidelines. We are talking a little Alabama Crimson Tide football, and we're talking about it right here on the game. We'd love to have you if you want to jump in. We'd love to have you at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. We're taking your phone calls. We'd love to have you at 205-342-9904. We're always powered by Tuscaloosa Toyota, TuscaloosaToyota.com, 3325 Skyline Boulevard, and online at TuscaloosaToyota.com. We are 19 days away. And I was just working on a post a couple of minutes ago, and I always like to take a video, and I put a video and a post together. 19 days away. How about one Reggie Ragland away? One Jeremiah Castile away? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that. And one of the things that I went and grabbed him knocking out Malcolm Mitchell. Remember that? Georgia hit 2015? I do. I'm sure Malcolm remembers as well, too, because that's one of those things that he kind of got him coming across that middle. Reggie Ragland, he felt the thunder. Alabama went on to win a national title. But if you remember that Georgia game, that was one of those that Georgia, they had blocked Alabama's locker room. They blocked Alabama's locker room from getting out, right? So you blocked it. You had the Georgia players, and Alabama made them pay the price. 38-10 victory. So a little 19 days away, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union, AlabamaCU.com. Checking, savings, mortgage, home equity loan, financing a vehicle, AlabamaCU.com. Let's continue with more phone calls, and we'll go to Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Leaky place, like after dark, they roll the sidewalks up here. There's no street lights, but the city lights right here. Do you see any street lights?
I think Stephen must be talking to somebody else. We'll put him back on hold. We'll come back to Stephen coming up here in just a couple of minutes. But let's go to Corey in Trussville. Corey, good afternoon. You're in the game.
Hey, Ryan. How you doing this afternoon?
Man, I'm incredible. Sitting here at the beautiful Gulf of Mexico, grinding my fingers to the bone, having to work extremely hard.
Corey, you enjoying yourself,
sorry for me having to do a radio show at the beach?
No, because you get to enjoy yourself.
Man, I thought I was going to get some, a shoulder to cry on. Doesn't sound like you're going to give me that.
Well, you get to enjoy yourself. It's the last vacation you get before football season.
See, that's my way of thinking right there. That what you just said, Corey. It's my last vacation before football season. And, because this team is going to be so good, I'm going to have to work through the month of December. Might not even get a Christmas break. I mean, here we are.
So what was your biggest takeaway from the scrimmage?
Alabama's got a really good football team.
I had 3 takeaways. Number 1, very few penalties. How many times over the last few years have we been a really heavily penalized team?
Yeah, good point.
Number 2, healthy. We came out of the scrimmage healthy. There have been times where we come out of scrimmages under Saban and the player went down with a significant injury. Healthy. Number 3, Ryan Williams is a stud. We already knew he was, but he confirmed it Saturday. And I think he's going to play a key contributor early in the season.
I don't think you're going to have to wait to the end of the season or the middle part of the season for him to make an impact. Corey, he's going to make an impact from game number 1.
Now, here's the thing. You don't want him to become a reliability. You want your guys like Kobe Prentice and Kendrick Law and Jeremy Bernard to step up. But if Ryan Williams can make plays, that will be huge for us.
Okay.
When you agree?
Yeah. I mean, but listen, Ron Williams has got a skill set that you can't coach. Speed, but he's got that natural running ability that he just looks like he's gliding. That's where he's
very mature for his age.
He is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Are you concerned about the kicking game any coming out of scrimmage?
I've heard the stuff, but, kicking, for Miami of Ohio and kicking for the Alabama Crimson Tide, the only way I can know how to describe it is it would be like pitching for the New York Yankees or the Kansas City Royals. There's a big difference when you climb on that mound at Yankee Stadium. You go into Bryant-Denny Stadium, it's big.
Well, I was telling somebody at work, I said, we weren't there at the scrimmage. We don't know if he was kicking a really long field goal and he just happened to miss both of them, or if he just shanked it, we don't know. So, I mean, yes, he was 3 for 5, but we just don't know what actually happened because we as fans weren't there. So, we don't know the whole story, but he went 3 for 3 in fan day, and Connor Talty went 2 for 2 in the scrimmage. So, we know Graham Nicholson's going to be the kicker. It's just, like you said, can he be consistent in the SEC? Because the SEC is completely different than the MAC. And just because we have the Luke Rosa Award winner doesn't mean anything because you're going into a new season and a whole lot more pressure when you're trying to kick a field goal in Death Valley versus kicking against Northern Illinois. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. It's not even close. Yeah, I agree. Totally.
I mean, yes, it's nice to have the Luke Rosa Award winner, but this is the whole different ball game, what you're going up against, kicking, the amount of fans, the hostile environment. But it's good that you got a really good kicker in your back pocket because when we lost Will Reichert before we got Graham Nicholson, we all didn't know what we were going to do with the kicking spot, and hopefully he can come through for us this year.
I think Graham Nicholson will be fine, Corey. I think that's looking for something to worry about. I don't think you need to do that.
Well, we all know how much kicking has been a problem outside of Will Reichert for Alabama.
That's fair. I don't disagree with what you just said.
Are you, when are we going to start the parlay pick contest?
The Friday. Yeah, the Friday.
Friday game. The Friday game week.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be when we'll start it. Yeah, I can't think of another way to, incorporate that. Can you?
I don't think week 0 really does anything for us. There's not really much on the menu.
Yeah, there's very, very, very little.
Are you looking forward to high school football?
Yeah, always. It's the feeder system of college football. Now I don't go off the deep end, but understanding that it has a role when you talk about the feeder system. There's probably other shows, that are on our station that really focus on high school football, and we focus on it, but we don't spend. Our show is such a show that reaches beyond, the city of Tuscaloosa. We try to hit Tuscaloosa and we cover it, wall to wall. But, if I interviewed Hewitt Trustful's coach, is the guy in Raleigh, North Carolina, does he really, does that really go for him? Maybe. It'd be a tough sell.
One more thing before I go. Under Coach Saban, we would always say, well, if the offense had a good day in scrimmage, or usually if the offense was ahead and the defense would catch back up the second scrimmage, is that how it's supposed to be viewed under Kalen DeBoer, or how are we supposed to view the last scrimmage coming up? Because under Saban, if the defense dominated, that meant the second scrimmage that usually meant we were going to have a good defense. So my point I'm trying to make here is, what are we supposed to get out of this second scrimmage to know we're really going to stand for proof we're going to have a good team? Because I don't know what Kalen DeBoer is looking for. Because maybe you can give me some clues here.
Well, I don't know. Our learning curve we're still processing. Heck, I'm still trying to figure out if he's Mr. Positive or if he's being totally transparent with us. So, I don't know if I can answer that question. I'd like to be able to, but I just don't know if I feel, we're still learning. We just don't know, Corey. It's, I think he's being, upfront, but, it is, yeah. I just don't know. I wish I could. It's just, a little bit of a challenge. Corey, I appreciate you, man.
Good to talk to you, Ron. Roll Tide.
Hey, right back to you, man. Thank you. Corey, Trussville, Alabama. Let's continue. I'll tell you what, let's break right here. It's 15 after, and then we'll come back. I want to take Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Get ready. We're coming to you. More Kalen DeBoer audio next. T-Town Tide, 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Internal battles in a bankruptcy filing are claiming yet another major chain in Tuscaloosa, with LL Flooring shutting 94 of its 300 stores, including the one on McFarland Boulevard. And a Georgia man is in the Tuscaloosa County Jail facing a slew of felony charges in connection to a scam calling scheme, which happens often but rarely leads to an arrest. And the preseason AP poll has been released for the college football season, with the Alabama Crimson Tide ranking outside of the top 3. You can read about these stories and more at thetuscaloosathread.com.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A little heavier on the pedals now if you're traveling on McFarland Boulevard, westbound lanes to Watermelon Road. Now it's starting to kick in with the heavies. Your backup is going to take you pretty much past Academy Drive. And then we're also looking at Lurleen Wallace. That's on the heavier side on the northbound.
Call for your free info kit. 800-403-5566. That's 800-403-5566. 800-403-5566.
The Pharmacy at Midtown with TJ Thomas, 205-752-0627. PharmacyMidtown.com. Don't forget about the retail side of the Pharmacy at Midtown. It's an independent-owned pharmacy specializing in walk-in prescriptions, medicine on time packaging, which
high quality ingredients. We want to say, that sounds great. We've been doing that since 1974. Under the biggest cactus.
MedCenter Urgent Care Family Medicine, MedCenterUrgentCare.com, the online check-in. You know, when you're a little bit under the weather, we're going to get you ready for the weekend, and we can do that to get you back to 100%. MedCenterUrgentCare.com, MedCenterUrgentCare.com. When we're talking about our good folks right there in the Lowe's Shopping Center for over 20 years, we expect the unexpected. It is also Demopolis. It is North River right off Rice Mine Road. It is Northport, Fayette, Hoover, Alabama. Locations right here, the doctors who work and serve in our community. We appreciate those guys for being a long-time sponsor of our program. It is MedCenterUrgentCare.com, MedCenter Urgent Care Family Medicine. We expect the unexpected. Injuries, occupational health, a little bit under the weather. Like I said, we're going to get you back to 100%. Let's go to Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. Stephen, good afternoon. You're in the game, my friend.
How the heck are you, Ryan Fowler?
Man, I'm just trying to control myself, okay? See, it's guys like Corey that keeps me balanced. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I'm ready to go jump off a cliff. Okay, I mean, I really think this Alabama football team is going to be very, very good, like super good. However, I'm a little bit on the kind of the Corey balanced me out. Now I'm thinking all negative. You know, the kicker is going to prevent us from reaching national championship. Punter, one of the best in the country, but he could shank a few, though. The long snapper could snap over. I mean, I'm thinking, like, Corey gets me thinking all negative.
Ryan, I think we got 99 problems, and kicking's not going to be one of them.
True.
So, I don't think that'll make or break us. You know, we're still more out here. You're right about you. You're onto something there. Is he Mr. Positive or is he transparent? And based on the way he's been with the media since he's got here, since day one in January, he's been pretty transparent about everything. So I'm leaning transparent, but always has a positive attitude. That sounds like a cop out. I don't know.
Help me with this, Stephen. You're a smart man. If I wanted to ask him, okay, how would I ask him that question? Hey, listen, are you a Mr. Positive guy? I mean, that's a hard question to phrase. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause I thought about it, like, 'cause he is a little bit on the positive side of things.
You know, I would lean to Coach. Have you always been this positive about your teams? No matter who you've been coaching, you know, no matter where you've coached at, have you always been a positive outlook person? So on that line?
Yeah.
So, but he is very positive, and however, your sources in the background back up what he's saying.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
So, you know, I think about the previous defense. We haven't been great on defense. Outside the 2020, national championship, Pete Golding, would you ever say any of those defenses were great? Matter of fact, in the fall camps, I think they looked better because we were so inept at offensive play calling. So when they were scrimmaging, of course the defense is going to look better when your offensive play calling is terrible or just basic. I love the way Coach DeBoer said it's a give and take. Each side's going to have big plays. And that's probably, Ryan, what you want. Because that way they're both testing. They give you both sides something to work on.
But Stephen, okay, let's go back. Wyatt, is it possible to play an audio clip when Stephen's on the phone call? Because I know I'm out of the studio, and I know that's a little bit of a challenge. If it is, don't worry about it. If it is, don't worry about it. But
what you got?
Mean, when the question, can I play an audio clip with Stephen on the air?
Absolutely. Yeah. What clip you need?
Okay. All right. Let's go to the biggest concern because I want to set this up because it's one that I wanted to play. And I want you to listen to it, Stephen, and you tell me if I'm reading too much into this. Okay. Because what he says is, the question was phrased is, 2 weeks left, where is your biggest concern? What would you like to be able to accomplish in this last couple of weeks? Now, listen to him closely. Listen how he responds. It's a comment that I'm stuck on for some reason. Here's what he said.
Probably just staying healthy, and again, I feel good about where we're at. This will be our biggest scrimmage. This will be the most plays that we run next week. We'll have a scrimmage too, but it won't be quite as many. It'll be solid, but just being healthy. We need all the reps. We have some veterans. There's no doubt about it. But we certainly have a lot of young guys that need to continue to develop and that are important. If they're not in the twos or if they're not in the ones, they're definitely in the two rotation. So those reps are invaluable to those guys, not just for them, but also the trust that it takes as a whole unit. So I think that's the biggest thing, just because our youth is, just kind of there around different position groups. But we'll just, guys doing a great job with their bodies. Anytime they have a chance, extra time, they're in the training room, doing a good job, in just before practice, after practice, doing what they should, being a pro and, those, championship habits, you can see them, really taking them and placing importance on them.
What do you think, Stephen?
Ryan, that's a man that's about to put a hurt on somebody. That's what that is. I think he understands. He talks about reps. He talks about reps for these young guys, which we already know to keep them engaged, to keep them out of the transfer portal. That's what you got to do. You got to keep them engaged. So they got to stay healthy to get those reps. Go ahead.
Out of all the press conferences I've ever wanted to cover, okay, I've never wanted to go up and literally just high-five a coach. When I heard him say that, I'm telling you, I had one of them crap-eating grins on my face. When he said that I'm pleased with where this team is at currently, that was my comment. I was sitting there going, did he just say what I thought he said? Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It was one of those that you're just like, wow. I mean, that's just a big comment. I mean, it's just a big comment. I mean, I'm pleased with where this team is at currently.
But Ryan, how much of that is us not knowing how to take that? Because we've never heard that before. In 17 years, we haven't heard, I'm pleased at where we're at right now.
That's a good point.
So we really don't know what that is. As fans and as radio people covering the University of Alabama, we don't really know what that means right now. It sounds good. It goes back to the question, is he Mr. Positive or is he transparent? If he's transparent, he's about to put a hurt on somebody.
See, that's kind of where I was at. When I heard him say it, I went, wow. I mean, he literally just said this 10 days into practice. I am pleased with where we are at. What is your biggest concern? He didn't say right tackle. He didn't say place kicker. He didn't say punter. He literally said stay healthy.
Yeah, it's exciting, that's for sure. I know I chose the transfer from Washington, the wide receiver last week. Who am I thinking of?
Jeremy Bernard.
Jeremy Bernard. I chose a leading receiver. I kind of halfway wish I could take it back for Ryan Williams. Boy, that guy he's just a freshman, I realize. But it's obvious, Ryan, he's very special.
He is. He's got a special ability. I mean, when I said, he's a combination of Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith mixed, I'm not pulling your leg. I mean, he truly is what we just said. He's a combination of Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. And as Larry Munson could only say, he's just a freshman. Well, he's just a senior in high school.
But Ryan, you take the big 6'5" freshman too, Caleb Holt maybe.
Caleb Odom. He made a catch.
Caleb Odom.
He made a catch that I was told that the catch that he made, if he hadn't have made, like, it would have been ESPN Sports Center. It would have been literally ESPN Sports Center top 10 moment, the catch that he made.
Brian, I saw a video of that, and it's undefended. You can't defend that. You can't coach that.
No,
that's uncoachable.
Yeah.
And if you're a 5'11" defensive back, you're not defending that. You can't bring a ladder out there and get on it.
Well, and let me tell you one other thing that Ryan Williams did, because they had the ones against ones, and he come across the middle. Okay, and he gets popped. Okay, but it's kind of a Malachi Moore trying to, hey freshman, welcome to big leagues, man. That's a big league kid. Not trying to take his teammate out. That's not what he's trying to do. But he's just trying to say, hey, we're going to lay the lumber right here. Okay. Now let me kind of add this to this. Okay. So he does that. All of a sudden, Ryan Williams jumps up after he doesn't drop the ball. So he holds onto the ball, takes the hit, and jumps up and does, pumps his muscles up. That's the photo that you see that everybody shared, that Ryan Williams is like, doing the Hulk Hogan thing. That was after the Malachi Moore play. So Malachi kind of, tried to jar the ball loose, and he didn't do it. Listen, man, he's a special football player. I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse. He's got a chance to be a special, special football player. A lot of people throw around the David Palmer analogy, and very few people are careful about David Palmer, because David Palmer was a special football player in Tuscaloosa. But I've heard some people that I respect throwing it around.
David, I was about 25 years old, probably about the same age as David Palmer was actually in college when he played at Alabama. I was about the same age as him. The guy was a special dude. There is no doubt. If he would have played in this, if David Palmer would have played in this offense, there's no telling what his numbers would have been. However, when you look at Ryan Williams, it's David Palmer 2.0, it looks like. You're going to get to see David Palmer in this offense. It's what it's going to look like with Ryan Williams.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, I wrote it at the top of my prep sheet today. Right on the top of my sheet, it literally says, this is what it says. It says, have fun, tease well, which is my two things that I write down on every message board. Every prep sheet that I write every day. Number one thing, have fun. I kid you not. I promise you. I can send it out. Have fun, tease well. And then I go with my guest lineup. And the next thing that I say literally is Alabama offensively can beat you a lot of different ways. That's my first take. That's what I learned from scrimmage. You want to know what I learned from scrimmage? That Alabama is not a one-dimensional football team. They can beat you a lot of different ways. They can beat you by pounding the football right at you. They can throw it over the top. I was talking with a national champ. I better not say that. I'm not going to tell his position because that might be able to identify who he was. But he went to practice. He went to practice, and he told me this is the words he used. He said, Ryan, the football field is 53 yards wide. He said, I'm going to give you 60 yards through the field because I'm not going to say 100 yards. You're going to have to defend all 100 yards. He said, but the defenses are going to have to defend all 53 yards because they're going to use all 53 yards, and you're going to have to defend a 53 by 60 yard field because they'll take the top off of it. They'll throw the deep ball. They're going to get you sucked up into the box, and they're going to catch you, sleeping a little bit, and they're going to throw it over the top of your head. Then when you think they're going to throw the football, what are they going to do? They're going to pound it. They're going to come back and pound that football. This team is going to be so balanced. Oh, Stephen. I mean, I'm literally about to get excited over here because balance is the key. When you go back to Alabama winning a national title, I don't care. Pick out a year. Okay, 2015. Derrick Henry, certainly the workhorse, 395 carries. But Jacob Coker did a couple things to keep that team honest, right? He threw a deep ball, great deep ball. 2020, Bryce Young, Najee Harris. When you're balanced, defensive coordinators are going to lose sleep over how they can stop this explosive offense, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Stephen, I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Ryan, the last thing I might want to say is it may not matter how good our defense is because of that offense.
Woo! Lord, I hope Kevin DeBoer's not listening to this show. I'd probably be in the doghouse or something. I'd be doing push-ups. I don't know. I couldn't give very many. I'd have to give one at a time, so it might take me all week. But, Stephen, thank you, man.
Yeah, roll tide. Enjoy the beach.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll break here. We'll continue with more of the game next. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Your home of Alabama Crimson.
Exit Info Kit. 800-420-2255. That's 800-420-2255. 800-420-2255.
Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. Call Paul at 205-331-6823. Custom curbing for your home or business. Do away with those plastic individual stone borders. Go for that more permanent, decorative concrete border. No more grass growing between those individual stones. Cleaner to edge to maintain. They're willing to travel, not just here in Tuscaloosa, but also in our neighboring states as well over in Mississippi. Many colors and choices. They'll customize for that individual taste and house. Give them a call at 205-331-6823. You can also go to their Facebook account. Find their page. You can see exactly what the videos. They came out, did a free quote. Paul gave me an evaluation. Give them a call, 205-331-6823.
AI-ready PCs powered by Snapdragon X Series processors at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
Never
Great day, man. We're continuing right here with taking your phone calls. We want you to jump right in, 205-342-9904. Hey, Pat, how are you, man? Good afternoon, sir. You're in the game.
I'm doing fine, Ryan. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Right. Okay. I just been here the whole time. I've been on hold smiling about, who picked Ryan Williams? Who said Ryan Williams was going to show out?
Well, I tell you what,
everybody talked bad about me, Ryan Fowler.
Well,
was there anybody that did not talk bad about me?
Pat. I don't remember you picking Ryan Williams. Let me look through my sheet right here. Are you sure you picked Ryan Williams?
1,359 yards, yes, sir. But
I'm just teasing with you. I know you picked Ryan Williams.
Are you going to get some swamp cabbage? Is all I want to know. Because if I was there Monday, they closed on Monday, I think.
Pat, I want to tell you something. About that swamp stew. Okay.
Okay.
My wife and I usually drive down on Friday or Saturdays when we come down. Okay.
Yeah.
When we come down to the beach, our first stop is the Fish River Grill.
Okay.
All right. My wife makes me buy half a gallon of swamp stew. We buy half a gallon and we bring it back to the condo and we keep it here in the condo. And when we just want a little snack and we don't want to go out to dinner, we have swamp stew, okay? You and Democracy Dan from Foley had told me about the Fish River Grill. Matter of fact, he was the first person who ever took me to the Fish River Grill. Went to the Fish River Grill, and it is our first stop generally. If we come down on Saturday, if we come down on Sunday, they're closed. They're closed Sunday and Monday. Yeah. But we come down, and let me tell you this. Have you ever had the swamp burger I mean, I know you don't go to the beach.
It's as good. It's as good as it gets. That my aunt and uncle, they live down there all the time, and anybody that they bring down from up north, that they got lots of friends from up in Wisconsin and places. They bring them there to eat. And I mean, I mean, I realize they're not giving you a plug and they way down south, but hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah. What's your second favorite place? What's your second favorite place down here?
As far as to eat down there, Jesse's over Magnolia Springs.
Now, Pat,
you ever been over there?
Pat. Let me ask you a question, okay?
What?
How many years did you put in the government?
Many years. 28 and a half years as a federal food inspector.
Okay. See, your budget, my budget is two different things, okay? You swing from a different... Now, Pat, how many boats have you...
Jesse's is not that high.
How many boats do you have down here?
I got one down there, and I got one in Demopolis.
Okay. That's what I'm talking about. You swing from a different batter's box, okay?
No, now, come on, Ryan. Hey, it doesn't cost any more to go first class and second. You just can't stay as long.
I got a buddy of mine, okay? I got a buddy of mine that went to Jesse's 2 weeks ago. Him, his wife, and 2 kids. They were down here staying. They went down to Jesse's.
Was it 125?
For 4 people. Now you got to remember this is Biden's inflation numbers. So Harris Biden inflation numbers, right? $375.
Wow. Hey, but Ryan, I don't. When I go there, I don't drink nothing. I don't drink beer. I don't drink whiskey. They didn't either.
They don't either. But now they told.
Well, I hadn't been. You asked me about where there's got good food. They got good food. They got good atmosphere. But now the Tin Top would be your next best place to go, and it's right across from my cousin's place. Bon Secours Fisheries is my cousin.
The Tin Top is closed for a little bit.
Yeah, they still in renovation and moving.
They opened a brand new location. Yep.
Yes, and they came in and bought that. See, my cousin owned all of that waterfront there, and the Tin Top just bought it from him, and they put in a real nice restaurant. And I still don't think it's high enough above sea level. I still think it'll flood in the event we get a big storm. I hate it for them, but because the big fish plant that's there is flooded numerous times. I was their federal inspector. And, but anyway, ain't either here nor there. Hey, what I called about though is Ryan Williams showing out, and that, I think, I've got a buddy that I listen to in the morning time on, y'all's radio station at 6:00 in the morning. And, he actually played with a fellow by the name of David Palmer, and he kind of likes the idea about the deuces loose. Come on.
He's a special football player, man. He's a special football player, and
hey, I tried to explain to y'all that I watched the Under Armour game, and he played against the top 2 defensive backs in the class. And now I understand that they're out of high school guys, but they're still the top 2 defensive backs according to all services. Ryan was playing against them, and he made them look silly.
Here's the thing that I can't get out of is how do you guard him as a high school player?
They didn't. He was Mr. Football 2 years hand running in Alabama. Now, hey, but we have a guy on staff in Alabama that was Mr. Football in Mississippi 2 years hand running in one Hubbard. And I still think Mr. Hubbard's going to find somewhere to be able to figure out some way to get in the lineup. I just don't see how you can keep somebody because even Mississippi has great athletes. You can't be Mississippi's Mr. Football 2 years hand running and not be a great athlete. And but now, hey, do you remember who was North Carolina's Mr. Football that came to Alabama? I thought he was getting a scholarship because his daddy was a coach. Then he sincerely was the real deal. I watched him make Johnny Football look silly too. Remember that?
I do. Man, you got me thinking. But Pat, it's hard not to get excited about this football team, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, Hubbard had a good spring now, no doubt about it. From what I could see, but now I've heard. I asked a player, was Ryan Williams as good as advertised, and they said he was better than that.
Well, let's get through a couple of games, and then we can start.
Sure.
Another.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, all of that it's not here nor there, and we'll see. Midway through the season, all those people that didn't pick Ryan, the fella called it a while ago. Can I please have Ryan? Oh no, I just thought you was going to give in. I said, no, he's not going to give in. He's not going to do that to me. And I'm just picking on you, Ryan. Hey, right. Enjoy your vacation dinner, and God has blessed you. You hear me? I'm going to tell you how God has blessed you. That hurricane that was coming toward the Straits of Florida is now going to turn and go north and become a fish storm. Not going to hit anywhere in the U.S. How blessed are you?
That's good.
Man, I've been praying for you down there, Ryan Fowler. Been praying that you have sunshiny weather. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. We'll continue with more of the game. We'll do it next right here on the game. T-Town Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. We have picked up a lot more volume and another accident. This in Duncanville on McFarland Boulevard, eastbound at Bear Creek Road. And this is definitely causing a big to-do. Lurleen Wallace. It's heavy on the northbound hookup to McFarland. And going back to
Qualifying new line for well-qualified customers plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Contact us before canceling entire account to continue remaining bill credits, and if you pay off device early. See details at T-Mobile.com.
With only 43 seconds remaining, facing a 4th and goal from the 31-yard line at Jordan-Hare Stadium, quarterback Jalen Milroe finds himself under immense pressure, scrambling to connect with Isaiah Bond in the corner of the end zone for a miraculous come-from-behind victory over Auburn. The jaw-dropping 27-24 result came on the 10th anniversary of the Kick Six. Daniel Moore is proud to announce 4th and 31, his upcoming oil painting featuring the now famous Gravedigger play. New Life Art is now accepting pre-orders for limited edition fine art prints and canvases of 4th and 31. See the preliminary pencil sketch for the artist's full color painting at DanielMooreArt.com. Pre-order your artwork now by calling 1-800-735-2787 or by visiting DanielMooreArt.com.
For college football season.
We're going to go with a fast pace. Let's go to AC in Bangladesh. AC, good afternoon. You're in the game. I hope all is well.
Good afternoon. I'll make it easy and simple for you. So we're giving prediction for running back this week. What's the plan, Mr. Fowler?
That'll be later this week. Yep, we'll do it.
Okay. All right. I'll call back. I'll give you my prediction. Why are you so depressed? I need some time to talk about the Bama football. Let me hear what the next caller has to say. Thank you so much for taking my call, brother.
Hey, man, that's your best call, man. That's an incredible call right there from AC in Bangladesh. Bama Nick, good afternoon. You're in the game. You got plenty of time.
No, you don't. It's 6:55.
Yeah,
5:56.
I don't have to hit that hard break. Not for you. I mean, You're the number one.
What I got to say takes longer than 2 minutes, 3 minutes worth. I'm just disappointed, Fowler. Disappointed. That's all I can tell you. I'll call you back when you get home from the beach.
What are you disappointed in?
I'm gonna call Gary Harris in the morning and talk to him.
Okay. Good.
All right. I'll talk to you when you get back from the beach. You call me and let me know when you're coming back.
We'll be back tomorrow.
It's just been a boring ass show today. AC was the best caller you had today.
Well, now hold on. I think you've had a pretty good call. Have you not had a pretty good call?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm gonna call Gary Harris in the morning. Larry from Osilla's on his show at a regular time slot, so I'm gonna call down there and talk to him and give Larry from Osilla kudos.
Yeah,
I'll fire him up.
There you go.
And I ain't never talked to Gary Harris. Maybe I'll start calling his show in the morning.
Well, now hold on. Are you going to start drinking in 8 o'clock in the morning?
No, his show comes on from 10 to 12, pal.
Okay, 10 to 12. You gonna start drinking then?
Well, not necessarily, but it has been known to in my younger days. I'd start about 9 o'clock.
All right.
Bloody Marys. I might start with a Bloody Mary, couple of them, and go on to screwdrivers. I'll call you, pal. You call me. You let me know when you want to come off vacation and get back to business up in Tuscaloosa. And
all right, I got to run.
Start getting these parlay stats and picks ready. And how come you ain't got a damn prediction on the Florida State Georgia Tech game? You need to look at that.